Welcome to the Dojo Talk Podcast. Please remove them shoes before entry.
The master is here, and you still have not taken off your shoes. Yeah.
Living every day to define man's mission. Looking to the sky for divine transmission. Deaf man's vision makes the blind man listen. Eyes on the prize, this is blind ambition. Thank you.
Welcome to another edition of the Dojo Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Serial Sensei. We are on episode number 123. As always, you can listen to this podcast on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes. If you're on iTunes, please rate, subscribe, and leave a review. You can also listen to us on Spotify. You can hit us up on social media at the Dojo Talk Podcast Facebook page, as well as the Dojo Talk Podcast Instagram page, which I have been a little bit active on, posting videos and such. So go check that out. Send emails to dojotalkpodcast@yahoo.com. And you can follow me on Twitter at Serial Sensei if you choose to do so. As always, of course, I'm joined with my co-host, Anti-Cool. What's going on, man?
Bleacher Report just sent me a thing that Drake actually boxed, and it's a video of him working out with somebody, and it looks awful.
Who's boxing?
Drake.
Oh, I saw that video this morning.
In the scorpion sweater.
Yeah. I did see that this morning.
Like, chin all the way up in the air. No extension.
He looked hunched over.
Yeah, like he looks like he has a bad back.
Yeah. His stance looked like he was an old man. But, you know, I guess everybody got to start somewhere. You know. He's trying. He's trying.
I mean, yeah, but, like, Wiz Khalifa brought in Sunshine to teach him how to, do Muay Thai.
And Drake brought in
some guy. I don't know who it was.
It's the security guards holding pads. You know, just trying to make them look good. We are recording this on Monday, on President's Day. Kind of mad because the one day I needed to go to the post office, they're closed. So, but I'm kind of happy. I guess that's one less adulting thing I have to worry about today. I have a lot of adulting to do today that I don't really want to do, but such is life, so on and so forth.
Right.
But we're here. A lot of fights to talk about. It's been a weekend of MMA, and the MMA gods definitely. I don't know, man. I don't know what we did to piss them off, but boy, they were in full effect this weekend, and they were not happy.
I mean, we didn't do jack. It was all those fighters. Just they I don't know. Maybe they didn't spill enough blood. Like I don't know. It was just not a good weekend.
Yeah, we were handed a stiff punishment. And the thing is, like, it was across like all promotions. Like, no, there might have been like one normal card this entire weekend. I think who had LFA had a card on Friday. I think LFA and one, which I just forgot about one championship until now. Those might have been the only two cards that were like normal this weekend. Everybody else, if you had an event, the MMA gods came down to your event and they cursed you. And
since we're not gonna talk about it later, that poor man from Cage Warriors.
Oh my God! And I was watching that live because I was home and I didn't have much else to do. So turned on Cage Warriors. I think I turned it on just in time for like the co-main event and the main event. They put on like pretty decent cards, but yeah, I don't remember the gentleman's name. But,
Sofiane Bukachau.
Something like that. I remember his last name was really hard to pronounce.
He is French.
Yeah, he had an Anderson Silva Wadman moment, and it was bad. Like it was. When he threw the kick, it sounded like a shotgun went off.
Yeah, no, I heard somebody filmed it from like inside the arena, and I haven't seen the actual like break, like the TV production one, because I heard that one. I was just like, yeah, nope.
Yeah.
I don't need to see this.
Yeah, it's not good. Not good.
What's with legs breaking so much recently? Like,
I think it's like it was such a normal, like, he just threw a kick, it got checked, and like you could just tell it was bad, just the impact that it made, and then like when he went to pull his leg back, it just like, ugh, like your leg's not supposed to do that.
right.
So I hope he's okay, man, because that was nasty.
I mean, he's probably not.
Yeah. Hopefully, like, I mean, yeah, you're gonna be sidelined for a while, but like, you know, hope you heal up okay, you know.
I hope you can walk again.
Right. Like, I hope you can fight again eventually, because
he's just some random dude from France. Like, he's not Anderson Silva or he who probably have like a war chest for this type of thing.
Yeah.
Or some insurance to fall back on. Like, this dude is probably doing it between shifts at like his job.
Yeah. And that's rough. But before we get started, got to shout out to listeners. Thank you guys, no matter where you're listening. Tumblr, Twitter, guess I can say Instagram now. Posting videos on there, and people have been responding. So wherever you're listening, man, appreciate you guys. Top cities of the week. Number 1, Brooklyn, New York. Number 2, the Bronx, New York. Number 3, Uniontown, Ohio. Number 4, Everett, Washington. And number 5, glad to see you guys on the list, Cairo, Egypt. If I had a round of applause, I'd give you guys a round of applause. But appreciate you guys in Cairo. Don't know why you're here, but don't leave. We appreciate you.
Why is anyone here?
All right.
when this sport is such a slap in the face.
Yeah. This
every week.
This weekend was the confirmation that like MMA is a sport that does not love you, and it will never love you. It's just one of them relationships. You just kind of got to deal with it. But before we get into all the fights, which there are a ton, it's probably gonna be a pretty jam-packed episode. But firstly, a few just news and notes for the week. It has not been the busiest week, but there was one major fight announcement. But I'm just from the top of my notes, and I'll work my way down, and we'll get to what we get to. So a couple of these announcements are actually fights I think that we've mentioned before, but now they're like official, like they're, you know, contract signed. We got events named, so some of these might be rehashes. But running from the top, Johnny Walker officially is stepping in at short notice to fight Misha Cirkunov at UFC 235. John Lineker versus Corey Sandhagen has been rebooked for the UFC on ESPN 3 card. The GOAT, David Branch, will be fighting Jack Hermanson at UFC on ESPN 2. Roxanne Modafferi versus Antonina Shevchenko will be going down at UFC St. Petersburg. Michelle Prazeres versus Ismail Nardiv, if I'm saying that right, will be going down at UFC Prague. Luis Pena will be making his featherweight debut at UFC Nashville versus Steven Peterson. And just that's for UFC. That's all I got for fight announcements. For quick news notes, Dustin Ortiz is now a free agent. His last fight was the split decision loss to Joseph Benavidez. According to him, he is now a free agent. Not sure if he's gotten any offers yet, but you know, we'll keep an eye out on that, because I think from the article I read, he pretty much echoed the same sentiment that a lot of us have, that it seems like for the UFC, the writing's kind of on the wall for flyweight.
Apparently, the only reason anybody's still around is, you know, they're either they're coming off a win, or they're married to Megan O'Leary. So,
but, you know, we'll keep an eye on him. I hope he can find another another organization to go to. And just a quick update on Robert Whitaker. As you all know, he had to pull out of the Gastelum fight because of the hernia. From what I've read, as an update, he is out of the hospital. Apparently, though, they're saying he's still going to be in pain. Like, he won't be able to do much outside of walking for like 6 weeks. But he's looking to return in June, sometime around that time. which Gastelum people said is perfect because Gastelum was looking to fight again either in like June or July. So hopefully that, fight ends up being a thing. We'll keep an eye on that. But, glad Whitaker's, out of hospital. Best of luck on the recovery. Biggest fight announcement this weekend actually came from Bellator, and I was really excited for this. I've wanted to see this fight for a very long time. This was actually, now I think about it, this was on our award show. This was on my MMA wish list for 2019, and barring injury and any catastrophic whatever's that could happen, I'm gonna get it. Patricio Pitbull, Michael Chandler. That's a thing now. It's official, and it will be going down at Bellator 221. Patricio will be moving up a division, so the lightweight title will be on the line. So that should be awesome.
I just like to point out, like, none of these champion versus champion fights have been, like, dare I say, good. Like the closest to good they've been so far is like DC versus Stipe and I guess Amanda Nunes Cyborg. Like, you go back all the way to McGregor Alvarez, and it's kind of just a one-sided schlubbing by the guy, most of the time the guy moving up.
How do you think this one goes?
See, they're both wacky fighters in that they get hurt seemingly in every fight. Again, I don't mean like they get rocked or something. Like they get injured, or they put themselves, like, they end up losing like the last 5 minutes of a fight, like Michael Chandler did against Benson Henderson. Like, like, I don't know. There's just like an innate wackiness to what they do. So, like, I could see Michael Chandler just taking Pitbull down for 4 rounds and then getting caught in a guillotine, or like Pitbull like kicks him in the leg and he just shatters his ankle again or something like that. You know what I mean?
Catch him with an uppercut coming in. Yeah.
I could also see like Patricio going out there and like working his kickboxing and keep it off the ground, and then all of a sudden like he breaks his hand and the fight gets called off in after the second round, because that's the thing that happens to these guys.
Yeah, this is gonna be a fun one. I'm looking forward to this. My bias wants me to pick Pitbull, but I don't know. This fight's hard to call, but I got a while to think about it, so I'm not even going to throw it out there. But
Bellator just needs a good fight, like a good 5-round fun fight, because they haven't had like one of those in a long, long time.
And boy, after this weekend, do they?
Yeah. I mean, we knew going into this weekend it was not going to be like that there was big failure potential, I guess is the word.
I mean, we knew, but
like, maybe not the flavor of failure we got, but
yeah.
But like, how many old heavyweights were on these 2 cards? Like, what do you expect when you have Matt Mitrione and Sergey Karatanov headline card? Like, that's another thing for Bellator. Like, when I say they need like good 5-round fights, I say it because they're heavyweight fights. When they go more than a round, nobody wants to see the end of them.
No.
And the only times they're good or entertaining is when they go like 2 minutes, and the less shot guy just ends up winning, i.e. Fedor or Frank Mir.
Well, we'll get to it. We'll get to Bellator. They had 2 cards, and boy, oh boy.
Boy, oh boy, did they have 2 cards.
Yeah. Yeah. But, yeah, Pitbull Chandler, man, that's going to be I hope the way I think that fight will be, it'll happen in reality. Like, it'll just be an awesome fight no matter who wins. But that's going down, like I said, at Bellator 221. Last 2 notes, in women's boxing, also another very awesome fight. Claressa Shields, Christina Hammer. That will be going down at April 13th on Showtime. I want to say at like 9 o'clock. So, still like 2 months from now, but you know.
Yeah, they got Claressa Shields graduating from the show boxing, the Friday night showbox cards, and getting an actual Saturday night main event.
Yeah, so that's dope. That's really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that fight actually, like, want to see what my timeline looks like the day that fight's on. Like I want to see how many people who like normally maybe wouldn't pay attention, I guess.
Well, it depends all on Salida Promotions marketing, because like there is potential here to sell tickets. Like you also gotta keep in mind, like I'm assuming you're like me, and like most of the people you follow are MMA fans on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah,
and stuff.
not a ton of just boxing fans really.
Yeah, so like, UFC 236 is gonna be that day. I don't know what's gonna be on that card. I don't think they even have a fight book for it yet. But it's gonna be probably overtaken a little bit by that. Like the success of women's boxing and Caressa Shields in general is not going to come from, like, I guess your core boxing audience. It's going to come from people being like, oh, women can box too, and like casual fans who maybe they follow like Anthony Joshua on Twitter, and when he tweets something, he's like, looking good, champ, like like that, and that's the extent of their boxing fandom or something. Like, it's like the same audience that got behind, not the same audience that got behind Ronda Rousey, but it's like, this outside force. And it's all about how they market Caressa Shields, and I guess Christina Hammer as well.
Yeah, we'll see. I hope that card does do well. I'm definitely looking forward to that fight. And the last bit of news I have, as you all know, Artem Lobov was released from the UFC, but he's back already. He found another home.
So before we announce the home, I want to remind people that when Artem Lobov was in the UFC, he was begging to be cut because he had offers from kickboxing promotions and boxing promotions and other MMA promotions that he claimed were going to pay him more than the UFC was. So, Sensei, can you please tell the people where Artem Lobov ended up?
Alrighty, man. Artem Lobov will be fighting Jason Knight, which makes this all the more interesting. And they will get to showcase their talents at Bare Knuckle FC.
We joke about this being probably fitting Artem Lobov more than like an MMA cage or a boxing ring. It also kind of fits Jason Knight too, if you think about it. Jason Knight feels like the type of dude who fights outside the bars.
Oh man, I still can't really bring myself to watch a bare knuckle event. I watched like a little bit of like the very first one, and I quickly realized that this wasn't for me.
Bro, it's just bones. Like, come on.
I just couldn't do it. It's weird. For some reason, like, that's where I draw the line. And I don't know why that is, or what that says about me.
I mean, if you want to find the next lineal heavyweight champion of the world, you have to go to the bare knuckle fighting leagues. Because that's how Tyson Fury did it.
Oh, boy.
So you're telling me you wouldn't watch Frank Shamrock get between the hay barrels? Because that's how they do it in the UK. The American ones are cowards, and they have a whole 20 by 20 ring. In the UK, they're just like, fuck it, we're getting between these hay barrels that are 2 feet apart from each other, and we are going to fight in a phone booth.
Lord, I feel like Bare Knuckle FC is like World Star if it just had like structure.
Bare Knuckle FC is just redneck World Star. Like,
oh man, but I don't know.
I mean,
for you,
I'm
probably in the minority because actually, like when the bare knuckle fights are on, a lot of people on my Twitter timeline are pretty excited. So I'm probably an outcast by myself.
I mean, not if you count sales, because they are probably not doing too hot.
I don't know. I don't know. But hey, man, I'm all for people being employed. bare knuckle or not. So
I mean, you need to find if you're not good at MMA, or if you're old and beat up. I mean, why not?
yeah,
Why not?
that's the next logical step, I guess. But shout outs to Artem Lobov and Jason Knight, Bare Knuckle FC. Be on the lookout. I guess.
I can't get over that one Vice Fightland documentary where they follow like the bare knuckle champion of like the UK, and he was just like getting drunk 30 minutes before his fight. He showed up to his fight he literally showed up to his fight a half hour late, drunk, and won. And it was amazing. He's like, I've been all the pre-filler was like, I've been training for this my whole life.
Hey man, that's the true measure of a champion.
That's the tank approach to fighting.
Hey man, but if you win,
I mean, if you're drunk, you can't feel anything.
All right, you had to numb the pain.
Yeah.
You got to do what you got to do. But yeah, so that's that's all for news and notes of the week. As we mentioned earlier,
I had one more thing. I forgot all about it. And it's juicy.
Oh boy! All right, what we got?
So, as we all know, the UFC has had a lawsuit launched against them by, I guess, former UFC fighter now, Mark Hunt.
Yeah. I'm glad you did bring this up.
So, this past week, Mark Hunt's lost like 9 charges of that Mark Hunt brought up against the UFC, Dana White, and Brock Lesnar, were dismissed with prejudice, which just means he can't bring them back up in court. 1 second. I wanted to find the judge's exact words. So apparently the court ruled that if you are a combat sports athlete, you consent to fighting doped competitors. Which, wow.
Yeah, and the thing is, what's sad is like that was the actual quote. Like, we're not like, that's not a twist of words. That's not like, oh, it was taken out of context. Like, no, they said that. Like, they really said that.
All right, I have the whole thing right here. Like that intention. Oh, okay. So, although an athlete does not assume the risk of a co-participant's intentional or reckless conduct totally outside the range of ordinary activity involved in the sport, the pitcher's intentional throw did not fall outside of this range. Like that intentional throw, the fact that Lesnar was allegedly doping violated the bout rules established by the UFC and the NAC, but does not alone establish that his conduct exceeded the ordinary range of an activity in an MMA fight. As Hunt's own allegations demonstrate, doping is an unfortunate common issue in MMA and was a risk he perceived. And although he argues that doping empowered Lesnar to move faster and hit harder, Hunt doesn't allege that Lesnar's conduct during the bout was somehow atypical, such as throwing Hunt out of the octagon, using packed gloves, or a weapon. Nor does Hunt claim that his injuries exceeded those of a typical MMA bout. Accordingly, I find that Hunt consented to his fight with Lesnar, which precludes civil battery liability. I therefore dismiss with prejudice this claim against Lesnar under Count 8 and the aiding and abetting claim against UFC and Dana White under Count 9. So basically, if you're an MMA fighter and you have some type of so basically, if you're an MMA fighter, by taking the fight, you legally consent to fighting a doped opponent. Like,
so many questions. Oh, I guess that's good news for John Jones. You know.
Yeah, but
But I just thought like so if we're gonna judging by that logic, if you can even call it that, like what do we even drug test for? Like why even?
why bother?
Yeah, why bother? At this point, like what does it matter? If apparently it's just not a big deal, like. Listen, man. Y'all fighters out there, like I don't know if you want to call it union, whatever you want to call it. Y'all are gonna have to do something, cause this is like, if I'm a fighter and I see this ruling, I'm bugging out. Like this just doesn't make any kind of sense. Like.
So basically, PhD use in MMA is so common that's considered within the bounds of like oh my god, it's like it's just common. Like it's just common. Like it's a risk.
That's like if
it's an assumed risk.
That's like if you live, and I don't know the stats. Let's say you lived in the most dangerous city in America, and like, I don't know, you got like assaulted there, and like you wanted to sue the person who assaulted you, and you walked into the courtroom, and the judge was like, "Well, you live here, so like you know what happens. Like, so what? He beat you up. You chose to live here,
Right?
so you just got to deal with it." And it's like. that's not how this is supposed to go. Like that's boy.
Like that makes me curious if like because they mentioned specifically like loading your gloves or something like that, like Margarito did to Cotto. I'm like, I wonder if enough people did that. Would you not be able to sue for that? You know?
Yeah. Like that. Oh boy. Good old justice system at work. Yeah, you guys can read up on the story. Like I said, you already read the whole quote, but just read that out loud to yourself, and you just realize how just asinine it sounds. It's like what are we talking about? Like how do you even come to this logic that this is just that's a whole nother podcast, and we got a lot to cut out because I could rant on this for a long time because that is just I don't know. The world is going down the drain. The aliens need to come and get us out of here because we're doing this all wrong. We're doing this all wrong.
For what it's worth, I think Hunt has one more charge pending that they might carry forward. I don't know.
I don't know. That kind of made me lose all faith. If they brought that logic forward, and that stands, I don't feel confident in anything else he's bringing forward will be able to stick.
Like
that
you would think that it would be a chargeable offense, so that there could be like repercussions.
Right.
But there are no repercussions. So what I'm saying is, if you're a fighter, you should do PEDs.
Basically.
Because there are no repercussions at any point.
Yeah.
And if you make enough money, they'll make all they'll just stop caring.
Yeah.
No one will care anymore.
This is MMA. This is our sport. This is what happens in our sport. This makes me, and I want to get off on another tangent, because sometimes I forget like how young MMA is as a sport, and then I think about it, and all of the craziness makes sense, because like compared to the NBA, NFL, all these other, leagues and organizations, like MMA is still fumbling around trying to figure everything out.
I mean, some of these other leagues are not on the up.
I mean, yeah.
Here's like with the nature of PEDs and like how everything's constantly changing. I guess it's hard. I get it. Like the stuff that they test for now is probably way behind what's actually available out there. Like the real designer shit. Like this is kind of off topic, but do you know who AZ Fajan was?
Sounds familiar.
He was one of the bigger drug dealers in New York during the mid to late 80s. And like one of the things he brought up was like, hey, like once crack hit the streets, like we just started selling crack because when when the police would come and they would take they would take what you were selling and they would go run tests, they would test for cocaine, but what would come back was baking soda. So you got off because you were selling baking soda. Like it was a technicality. And like I get this, I get it took them a year to figure, like according to Fajan, it took them like a year to figure out that was, they were still selling drugs and get the law on the books and everything. But like that's kind of the game with PEDs. Like there's always somebody out there trying to beat the test,
Yeah.
But at the same time, like if this is what you're going to be about, be consistent. If this is the stance you're going to take.
I mean, I guess we should have, but I don't know. Yeah, like I said, there's so many different ways this conversation can go, and none of them lead to anything positive because this is just kind of like,
meh.
You can't even really make sense of it.
Right.
So you know what? We're just gonna bury that and leave that where it is.
We'll deal with it some other day.
Yeah, we'll deal with that some other time because that's a whole podcast in and of itself. But best of wishes to Mark Hunt. I would have kirked out in that courtroom, boy. But moving on. Like I said, man, there were a ton of fights from starting basically from Friday going all the way until Sunday night. So we won't be able to cover everything super in depth, but two cards which we probably won't really cover much at all, but I want to give them really quick shout outs. LFA had a card, I believe on Friday, LFA 60. A lot of finishes on this card. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I would encourage you guys to go back and watch it. Because judging on the finish rates, looks like this card may have lasted a total of like 30 minutes because everybody was getting put out of there. But they had a card. They now have a new light heavyweight champion. The title was vacant. Julius Anglikas defeated Clayton York via submission, rear naked choke. So he is now their vacant light heavyweight title champion. Saw a couple of other highlights from that card, and it looked pretty entertaining, as most LFA cards are. So go give that a look on Access TV if you have that. One Championship had a card early Saturday morning. What's his whole name? Oh, Ngannou Guyan Chadao. Probably said that wrong. Versus Hanzi Hao. This was for, I want to say, a Muay Thai Bantamweight World Championship. I didn't get a chance to watch this card. I was kind of watching it at work, but, I'm at work, so only seeing bits and pieces. But it looked like a pretty good card. That was One Championship. Clash of Legends was the name of the card. There were a lot of Muay Thai fights on this card, but also a couple of MMA bouts. So go give that a look if you haven't. From the bits and pieces I did see, there were some fun fights. So go back and give that a look. But let's get on to the cards that you and I both, at least in some part, got a chance to watch this weekend. I guess real quick, we'll start with Invicta. I think we can kind of run through this a little quick. Invicta FC 34 went down on, I don't know if that was the 15th or 4th. I don't know what day.
That was Friday, 15th.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was Friday, too. Yeah, because I missed it. I had to watch it the next day because I had to work. But this card went down on Friday. Pretty important card for them. Invicta has a flyweight tournament going on right now that took place during this card. So I'm only going to mention about 3 fights on this card. But quick shout outs to everybody else. Tracy Cortez defeated Aaron Blanchfield via split decision. Victoria Leonardo defeated Jamie Milanowski via rear naked choke. Courtney King defeated Holly Logan via rear naked choke. And Caitlin Simmons defeated Christina Ricker via TKO. So I want to give everybody their just due. But the main event of Invicta FC 34 was Pearl Gonzalez versus Vanessa Porto. This was for the vacant Invicta FC flyweight title. It was a pretty good fight. If you've been paying attention to Pearl since her UFC release, she's been on a pretty good roll. Looked really impressive in all of her Invicta fights. And this fight against Porto, I thought Porto was it was a competitive fight. I had Porto winning. She was just landing a lot of hard shots, good takedowns. Excuse my memory. A lot of these fights I only got a chance to watch once, so I won't have like super specifics. But I thought Porto was definitely winning the fight. It ended in a little bit of controversy, I guess you can say. That this was the start of like the MMA gods enacting their revenge, and a weekend full of main events that just seemed to end in injury or just some kind of wild fashion.
I just realized something. I think we missed news. Did we talk about Tyson Fury?
Oh no, we did not. We skipped one Tyson.
And real quick, Tyson Fury signed a 5-fight deal with ESPN and Top Rank. It's worth over $100 million, but it's probably bad in the long run if you're waiting on Anthony Joshua and the Deontay Wilder rematch. So, yeah. So basically, ESPN is paying $100 million for Tyson Fury to like dance around. I don't know who's like Kubrat Pulev for 12 rounds and get booed out the stadium. So
we'll keep it updated. But no, Porto and Gonzalez was it was an entertaining competitive fight. I think you guys should watch. But it ended excuse me via eye poke. It was just kind of just one of those moments where fighter extends their hands out, fingers get a little too close to the eye. Porto's eye was like actually bleeding, so it looked pretty bad. Doctors came in, everybody came in, and determined that she couldn't continue. I never really know how these situations go in terms of the rules, because they didn't declare this like a no contest. They actually they stopped the fight because she couldn't continue, and they took it to the scorecards. I'm gonna guess maybe because it was a championship fight. I don't know. The commissions do weird stuff, and like every state, rules are always changing. I don't know what's going on. But they stopped the fight. This actually ended in round 4, and they went to the scorecards, and Pro Gonzalez ended up getting the nod anyway. At the time of the fight, the judges had it 40-36, 39-37, and 39-37 in favor of Porto. And I agree. It sucks because you want to see the fight play out because this sport is crazy. You never know what could have happened. Pearl could have done something wild and pulled off a comeback. And it's not like she was getting super dominated, but I did think Porto was kind of clearly winning. And you kind of want to just see a fight play out till the end. But I agree that up to that point, Porto looked like she was pretty in control of the fight. So it kind of just is what it is, but it sucks because you want the fight to end naturally, but eye pokes, what can you do? So that was the main event. So congrats to Vanessa Porto. She is now the Invicta flyweight champion. And then the co-main event was part of 2 bouts that were part of a flyweight tournament that was going on. So we have on one side of the tournament Karina Rodriguez versus Milana Dudieva. If there's one fight you go back and watch on this card other than the main event, this will probably be it. Lots of back and forth. Just nice quality flyweight violence. How I would describe this fight. I can't argue the decision. They gave it to Karina Rodriguez via split decision. Like I said, I didn't get a chance to rewatch any of these fights. I was just kind of,
I don't know why. I remember after seeing the fight, like I wasn't against it because I want Karina Rodriguez to do well, but I remember thinking, wow, I'm surprised they didn't give it to Dudieva.
Yeah, I mean they both had good moments. They both landed like really hard shots. Like I said, they both were just they were in there throwing down, man. Like they compared to the other flyweight fight, I think this one was like they really wanted it.
Yeah.
Like they really wanted it. So you maybe could have made an argument for either or, but yeah, I'm not gonna complain. So Karina Rodriguez will be moving on to meet the winner of this Deanna Bennett, who defeated Miranda Maverick via unanimous decision. To be honest, I don't remember much of this fight. I don't know if you do or not.
So Miranda Maverick was a 115 pounder who moved up, right? I'm not crazy. Like she started off at 115, just couldn't make the weight anymore, and moved up to 125. And was relatively doing well. She lost to Brogan Walker Sanchez, who's another young. Well, she's older than Maverick, who's like 22 or 23 or something, or she's 21. But yeah, no, Maverick always kind of likes to be the bully, and Deanna Bennett just kind of never let her do that. Whether it was on the feet or on the ground, like Bennett just was always the one in the proper position. And Maverick kind of just seemed lost not being the bigger woman out there. So, solid quality win for Bennett. Probably her best performance since she knocked out Michelle Old, I'll say, like with the body kick. But that was like 5 years ago now. Damn. But yeah, no, quality win. She rematches Karina Rodriguez in a fight that I believe was a split decision the first time around.
Yeah, so they'll get to settle that. I don't know when that fight is supposed to happen.
I imagine in the fall.
Yeah. So we'll see how that plays out. But I like this little, like mini resurgence of like tournaments.
Everybody needs a gimmick, bro.
Hey man, I'm all for it.
You need something to help yourself stand out, and what better way than not standing out?
And to Invicta's credit, like I don't say they needed to do the tournament, but like them doing the tournament for this division like made sense.
Right. Also would have helped if they had done it for like atomweight, which is the only division they have that hasn't been completely pilfered.
Yeah. Well, we'll see, but I like this little mini.
Speaking of, Shannon Knapp did actually hint at a future tournament featuring bantamweights, I believe, on Twitter. Also, Scott Coker basically said that Bellator is looking to do a featherweight tournament in the fall after the welterweight tournament wraps up.
That would be awesome. I would like that. So we'll see. Tournaments making a comeback in 2K19. So, but shout outs to Invicta FC, man. Pretty good card. If you got Fight Pass, go back, give it a watch. Congrats to Vanessa Porto for being the new flyweight champ. And shout outs to the MMA gods for giving us eye pokes and making fights just not end well. But moving on. Bellator 215 went down also on Friday also in Connecticut. Yeah, the MMA gods came through on this one also, and they threw the hammer down.
Nobody gets to have fun.
Yeah, so this card was headlined by Matt Mitrione and Sergey Karatanov. I mean, to be honest, heading into this, it's not like I was really expecting anything crazy. Like, it's heavyweight MMA. I didn't realize Matt Mitrione was 40 years old.
Oh yeah, no, he's old.
For some reason, I thought he was still like mid-30s. Did not realize he was 40 years old. But yeah, like I said, going into this fight, I wasn't really expecting anything crazy. Like, we want to see two heavyweight guys just throw. One of them will fall over eventually, and we'll all get to go home. But instead, what we got, Matt Mitrione came out, bounced around a little, throws a kick that he's trying to hit like the inside leg. Instead, he hits the family jewels of Karatanov. And keep in mind, this is 15 seconds into the fight. And Karatanov is on the ground, in pain, gets up, falls down. It's a whole issue. It's a whole situation. And the fight ends.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was your main event. No questions were answered.
Karatanov, just the king of getting out of Bellator fights in the first round. Just knocked out by Javier Ayala, then knocks out Chase Gormley and Roy Nelson. And now this. He's just like, I'm going to get paid whether I stand up or not.
And
we should probably mention, he apparently he went to the hospital, left, and had to go back because the pain was so bad. And they're now speculating that he has, like the last time I checked, they were speculating he now has like hemorrhoids or something from being kicked so hard.
I didn't even know that was possible. Like, I don't know, man. Jesus Christ. The MMA gods are cruel. This sport is cruel.
That's why you wear a cup, because if that had happened without him wearing a cup, it would have been gone.
Oh, yeah. He might have not been ever able to use that again.
No, it would have been off his body.
Yeah.
So,
like, if I'm Karatanov, I don't even want to rebook this fight.
Yeah, I'm just out of spite.
Yeah, I'm just not fighting you anymore. I will go fight somebody else. But yeah, that was main event. That was it. But I hope Karatanov, like, I would never wish that kind of pain on anybody. So, bro, I hope you can get through that. I hope you're okay, because that is not fun. That is not a good time. But yeah, that was the main event. It lasted 15 seconds. It was a nut shot, and it was over. Moving on, co-main event: Logan Storley versus Ion Pascu. I feel like this fight is kind of Logan Storley gonna Logan Storley.
I mean, Logan Storley would fit in with the top 10 at welterweight in the UFC. Just wrestling.
Yeah, a lot of wrestling.
Not a whole lot of grappling, but a lot of wrestling.
Wrestling with, not the greatest striking, but I guess he's strong, so you still got to be wary. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. But
in all fairness, Logan Storley should have been the one in the tournament instead of Ed Ruth, because he was clearly Storley's clearly ahead of where Ruth is at.
Yeah.
In terms of just like making his wrestling work for MMA, so he should have been the one with the spot.
And I'm gonna give myself some credit. Back when I used to, I wrote a blog post some years ago about fighters to look out for outside of UFC, and Storley was on my list. I remember watching him when I don't know if it was even called LFA back then. He was in one of those.
He was in RFA.
Yeah, RFA. And he was ragdolling dudes. And it was violent. Like, he was ragdolling them and just beating them up. So, I mean, obviously...
He got signed to Bellator. I was like, I really got to calm down and, make sure I get make sure these people get their money's worth.
Right. Because, man, the dude is... Like I said, man, like, he has that different kind of strength. Like, if he grabs a hold of you, it's over. Like, you're going down. More often than not, you're going down. So yeah, Logan Storley gonna Logan Storley. Yeah, I think at this point, in his Bellator career, he's probably another guy welterweight that we can start throwing him up there with some names and seeing what he can do. Because I don't imagine there are a lot of guys on that roster who are going to be able to handle that wrestling if he can get a hold of him. But we'll see. Good on Logan. He's pretty much been spotless in his career so far. Like, he's doing everything he should. Maybe people won't be as a fan of his style. He is primarily a wrestler, but He goes in there and he just kind of makes it look.
I mean, to me, he's just kind of like a less interesting Ben Askren.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I guess you can say that.
Because like Ben Askren's wrestling has like a little bit of like, lack of a better word, funk to it. Like Starley's just a powerhouse.
Yeah.
I would love to see him fight like John Fitch, just cause like I want to see what John Fitch like. When's the last time John Fitch fought a powerful young wrestler, as opposed to out wrestling like Jake Shields?
Right.
But John Fitch is about to win the Bellator welterweight title by breaking Rory McDonald's nodes. So if he wins the title, then wins the tournament, Bellator should just close. I'm sorry.
Nah. See, this
is how you get.
Neiman Gracie's gonna have the belt for one round.
Oh my God, he might.
Neiman. We're gonna have a Gracie champ in 2019. It's gonna be Neiman Gracie. That's my prediction. I don't know if he'll hold it through the whole tournament.
I mean, when Victor Gracie comes back, and he lays waste to Bellator's aged 185 division, it's over. Gary will be too busy trying to take the belt for Ryan Bader.
Is this it? Is 2019 the Gracie resurgence?
Yeah, apparently.
We'll get to that later. But congrats to Logan Storley, dominant win. Moving on down the card, we had Eduardo Dantes versus Toby Misech. I guess first off, just glad to see Dantes back, coming back off of injury. I forgot about that McDonald fight until I went and looked at his record. I was like, oh, that did happen. Forgot about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. that was a thing that happened to him. So, yeah, it was just good to see him back. Not the best Dantes performance, like in terms of, excitement.
That was a typical Dantes performance because he tends to do this, especially as of late.
I felt like watching this fight, it was one of those. I guess this is kind of me shooting him some bail. I think we've seen other fighters, like when they come off of like a major injury, how their first fight back, they're just trying to like get their feet back under them.
Right.
Like, I just want to win to just kind of get my confidence going, and I'm not going to come in here and really do anything too crazy. And I kind of felt like that's pretty much what Dantes did. Like, it wasn't anything super flashy. I just did what I needed to do to get a win, and, now I can get my feet back under me. Now I feel good, my leg, I think that's what he broke, or ankle, something like that, I'm holding up. I'm doing okay. And he got the win. Yeah, like I said, it wasn't anything super crazy, but, a win's a win, I guess.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it. Unless you had any other.
Do you think Dantes could beat Renan Barão in a fight?
Yep. all he needs to. All right. I gotta save it.
We'll save it.
To kind of foreshadow a little bit, if Dantes listened to what Sanders' corner told him, I think he would win. I think it would be one of those fights where like Dantes would get tagged a couple of times, maybe in like the first 30, 40 seconds. Bro, just push forward and move in on him. He's gonna crack eventually. And I think Dantes, when he's operating at his best, he's explosive enough. I think he can put him out. But we'll get to Mr. Barão when we get on to that card. But congrats to Dantes. Glad he's back. This next fight, John Duma versus Mike Kimball.
So, like, I was really confused about this. I guess Mike Kimball has, like, an interesting backstory, or, like, was he, like, a D1 wrestler dude, or...
So...
Like, what's his story? Because he seemed like the A side that Bellator was putting the eggs in the basket on.
from what I remember, and I don't remember what card he was on because I didn't recognize his name. Oh no, I didn't. Well, either way, when I saw him, I was like, where do I know this kid from? And then he was on one. I can't remember what Bellator card he was on, but I remember him being really young, and he got like a really quick finish, and he looked really good.
Mitrione Bader.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, and I think a lot of people were like, oh, like we didn't know about him before, but maybe this might be somebody to like keep an eye on. Because he looks exciting. He's young. Dude's only like 21 years old.
He's built like a goddamn action figure.
Right, like he has all of the like intangibles, I guess, that you would want for like a new prospect that you could potentially like push in the future. But I think his age kind of showed in this fight. So I didn't really know much about John Duma, but apparently the thing with him was like you just don't really want to tangle on the ground. It's not what you want to do. If you can keep it standing, but if you get you on the ground, you might have some issues. Mike Kimball, I think, was just in that young kind of cocky mode where he's like, you know what? I'm the man, and I'm just going to do whatever pretty much I want to do because up to this point, nobody's been able to stop me.
Right.
And he tangled on the ground with somebody he didn't have business tangling on the ground with. And he got triangled for his troubles. So, I don't think it's like I said, dude's only 21 years old. So time is definitely on his side. It was just one of those, you know how like every like rookie NBA player, every rookie NFL player, you have your welcome to the big league moment where you realize that what you used to do and get away with. Oh, that's what it was. I think he has one of the fastest KOs in Bellator. Because his last one was in 6 seconds. Yeah. But I think he just kind of had his welcome to Bellator moment where it's like, all right, all that little stuff you used to do, you got to start respecting your competition level now. Because you're not fighting Joe Schmoes and the manager at Target anymore.
Like you're fighting dudes who have, notches in their belt, even if it's like John Duba, who only had like 4 fights. This is why I prefer them burying prospects on the prelims, like, to be honest. Like, I know they don't get as many eyes as quickly, but like it just seems like so much more. Like, because like Tyrell Fortune's still on the prelims.
Yeah.
Like Steve Mowry is still on the prelims. He fought on the prelims of this card. Probably because of who he was fighting, but
And I was actually thinking of that during the Bellator cards, and this is kind of another whole side conversation. Because I was thinking of like Bellator and like what they do with their prospects. You mentioned dudes like Mowry and Tyrell, and like I almost feel like the UFC, and it's probably been this way for a while. I just haven't really like noticed it or paid attention to it. Like the UFC is long past the days of like homegrown prospects, whatever the word prospect means anymore. Like all of the new people who are coming over in the UFC, like you got people we mentioned during the war show, like Weili Zhang, Petr Yan, all of these new faces that are making noise. These were fighters that were like well established in other organizations before they came over. So it's not like fighting for them is just some new thing they just kind of jumped into. They've been doing this for a while.
So like, God, what are the names? Buddy Elbow used to do this thing called the MMA Prospectus. It used to be by writers Zane Simon and Connor Rebush. And one of the things they kept harping on before the show ended was the idea that that guys were staying out, guys and gals, I guess, were staying out of the UFC longer to get more experience. Like, one of the examples was Tom Duquesnoy. Tom Duquesnoy was a dude who turned down an offer from the UFC when he won his first title in Bama because he wanted to go, like, he wanted more time. Like, he was young. He was like I'm not gonna say frail, but like, he doesn't have a man build on him yet. even now, he's still really young. So like, you go and you get your experience because that's how you get your money. Because if you win out your first contract, you go like 3-1 or 4-0. Like that's more money at the end of it for you. You get a rating. But like if you're in there struggling to go like 2-2, 1-3, like it's so much harder to get back in the UFC nowadays. Just because there's so much talent out there. So if you don't have like a pre-existing relationship like Ben Saunders does, it's so hard to get a call back.
Yeah, you might be out just kind of floating somewhere. Because at this point, especially in the lighter weight classes where talent is just in abundance, like you can get lost in the shuffle so easy. And yeah, the point I was gonna make was like for Bellator, they're not afforded that same luxury because a lot of these guys are literally like they're homegrown talents. It's literally like, oh, you were a wrestler at this prestigious university. We want to bring you in MMA because we think you'd be something good, but like they have to move them along slowly because these aren't guys who've been fighting in like, Bama or any other organization. I mean, like these guys are literally
like how many of Bellator's big prospects come in like and they're 0-0. Like we had one on the next card. What's her name? Valerie Loretta. Like she is literally like an MMA transplant. Ed Roof, Tyrell Fortune, Aaron Pico. These are all dudes who debut inside Bellator. And for all of Bellator's faults, like in comparison with the UFC and talk about depth, like there is something to be said about being a established Bellator prelim guy. Like going 3-3 in Bellator is different than going 3-3 in like Cage Fury Fighting Champions or something like that. Like you're getting experience, you're getting travel experience that probably a lot of these guys are never ever like they really don't have. You're getting like media exposure experience, like, and that's all things that help you accommodate to the fight, to the atmosphere. So it's different.
Yeah. So yeah, they I think they might have just got and to be honest, I think another reason Kimball might have ended up on the main card. It's not like this card was heavily stacked from top to bottom.
Right.
So it could have been just virtue of that. He might have just kind of, ended up on there. But I'm pretty sure we'll see Kimball back. But
I mean, they could have put Amanda Bell and Amber Leibrock on the main card, to be fair.
That is true.
But
actually, you probably could have put that over this fight or the next one.
Well, the next one they had for a reason.
Yeah. So we'll get to that. But congrats to John Duma. He won via triangle. And the last fight we will mention, Austin, Mr. Van Zant Vanderford versus Cody Jones. I don't really remember what happened in this fight other than Mr. Van Zant got an arm triangle choke.
That's basically it. Like, I remember his ears because they're cauliflower as fuck, but it was Vanderford got him down, got the arm triangle. A whole lot, like there was a whole other 4 minutes of the fight, but it is just drawing a blank in my mind. But as Sensei stated, for those who don't know, Austin Vanderford is Paige Van Zant's husband. He got. I feel bad saying he got signed because he's Paige Van Zant's husband, but he got signed because he's Paige Van Zant. Because you don't want to undermine, like, he was 6-0 before came in.
Yeah. He was.
And let's be honest, that's better than half the dudes in the Bellator roster. Like Billy, the next dude down on the fight card is a dude named Billy Golf, who's 2-0, and he's fighting for Bellator. And there are a bunch of dudes on this card who had not won a fight who are fighting for Bellator. So, So like, the reason he was the opener on this card is because he is Paige Van Zant's husband, and he seems like a solid enough addition. Like, even if he doesn't work out, Bellator needs those dudes who have some type of experience, who are 7-0, 8-0, and are just like ready to go again and fill spots on the main card, and be of interest. Like
Right.
not like dudes like Rory McDonald and Douglas Lima and Andre Korshkov who have like established narratives about themselves. Like they need dudes who are just like question marks, who could be something, who might be something. And Vanderford, I can't say whether or not he's like a prospect or just like a guy, but we'll find out.
We'll see. Yeah,
And,
we'll see.
and that's part of the fun.
Tom will let
That
us
is
know.
part of the fun.
Yeah. So that was the main card. It was a decent night. But the main event was just kind of like, ugh. Like I said, man, MMA gods came this weekend. If you were in the main event, boy, they threw the hammer
Let's
at
be
you.
real. The best part of any Bellator card are the prelims, where somebody basically dies because Bellator is, human sacrifice hour.
Oh yeah, there were a lot of finishes. Well, real quick, I'll just blaze through these because we got to get to some other cards. But to give everybody their props and shout outs, on the prelims, Billy Goff defeated Ryan Hardy via unanimous decision. Zaruk Adashev defeated Ron Arana via unanimous decision. Matt Probin defeated Ali Zibian split decision. Pete Rogers defeated Jason Ron via TKO. Steve Mowry defeated Darian Abbey via submission. Kimura, Amanda Bell defeated Amber Labrock via TKO in a fight that I wish I would have saw, but I missed it. Lindsey Van Zant defeated Tabitha Watkins via TKO, and Pat McCron defeated Jason Markland via TKO. So
Shouts to
shout out.
everybody, especially Lindsey Van Zant. I think this is like the first Bellator atomweight fight ever.
I didn't even catch that. Oh, that was at atomweight. Yeah, I didn't catch it.
I mean, I could be wrong. Like they probably have done an atomweight fight before, but like maybe not in the Cogar era.
Yeah, that's cool though. Yeah, I don't know if that's even like an established division.
Yeah, not in Bellator. Yeah.
Yeah, but hey, man, you gotta start somewhere. But that was Bellator 215. Decent card, kind of, yeah. Like it wasn't like super exciting, but if you had nothing else better to do with your time,
You could read a book.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah,
but
it like MMA, it's not really gonna be on fire. It's not gonna be the hottest thing. So
yeah, so that card was kind of but it is what it is. Moving on, Bellator came back with the double whammy.
another kind of
Bellator
card.
2. Yeah, it was a very mad weekend. Bellator 216 MVP versus Daly went down. I was really anticipating this card. I was hyped for this main event. I was interested to see how it would turn out. We'll just jump right into it. I'll say, actually, I didn't hate the main event. There are certain matchups that I see, and I'm like, I just want to see how this actually plays out. Like, I'm not really worried about fireworks. If they happen, they happen. If they don't, I guess it is what it is. I guess when just these two, I wanted to see, like, the fight it definitely didn't go the way I thought. To be honest, I thought that Daly would let his emotions kind of get to his head, and he would do something stupid and either get a crazy finish or get put away. But nah, this. So first round, Daly literally does nothing.
Like Melvin Menhoff, Rafael Carvalho, literally nothing. He did not throw one strike. I think he fainted like twice. And that was it.
I felt like the entire first round he was just like trying to maybe just get a read on MVP, and the cautious ain't even the word. The man did not want to engage. Like, I think he did not want to get countered. He did not want any of the smoke in the first round. He was just kind of, let me see what dance moves MVP is going to throw at me. How many feints, how many angles, I'm guessing. I'm just speculating. But he literally did nothing the first round. And then the next few rounds switched up. Paul Daly turned into John Fitch. But you know what? I'm not mad at it because
Also, like there is a lot of historical precedence for this type of thing.
right.
Like remember him trying to shoot him as God, I want to say his name wrong. In Strike Force, he did it on Masvidal. But he also did it on Mizaki. There we go. Where Mizaki was just beating the crap out of him, so he just decided to try and take him down.
Hey man, you
gotta win any way you can.
Yeah. Like people can talk all this trash they want in pre-fight hype. Listen, man, we know what the deal is. You just need to get the win. And however you get there, whatever path you decide to take, it is what it is. But like I wasn't surprised that he started going for takedowns because, I mean, we all know that's the glaring hole in MVP's game. And in those second and third rounds, I think, excuse me, Daly was getting a little more comfortable with the range. He's actually started to push forward more. It's not really a ton to break down round by round in this fight. I think what this fight came down to and why MVP got the decision. To me, this fight was Daly was like just trying to control the fight, but to me, MVP was trying to win. Like, Daly was just trying to neutralize what MVP did. MVP, for even though his performance wasn't all that great, he had the quote-unquote moments. Like, he was the one actually doing damage.
Right.
Or, like, trying to do damage, at least. As the Daly was just kind of like, let me just stop you from... I'm going to stop you from doing damage, but I'm not really going to do much either. We're just kind of going to have a stalemate, and hopefully I come out on the other side and get my hand raised. As the MVP was kind of like, I'm trying to hurt you. Like, I'm trying to land shots. I'm trying to be a bit more active. And I'll give MVP props because I think he stole this fight in the last round. I don't know if I think I had a 2-2 going into the last. But I just think MVP was able to capitalize. The moments he had were bigger, and he was able to capitalize. And I think he stole those last couple of rounds from Daly. Because like I said, Daly didn't do himself any favors by, you take him down, all right, great, but we got to do something. We got to pass guard, ground and pound, something.
If this was a 3-round fight, Daly probably would have won. He gassed hard in that fourth. He still managed to get MVP down, but like MVP was able to get to his back and threaten with the rear naked choke. Like MVP was always the one who was trying to land the knockout blow, but like I think Daly actually had the hardest punch of the fight. Where at the end of the second round, after controlling MVP for the majority of it, he starts to let him back up and proceeds to just throw that left hook he loves so much, and then chase him around the cage as MVP tries to skate away. I was hoping he would do more of that. Like every time MVP would get to the cage, he would just let him get up and then try to throw something on him, but he had his heart content on just like trying to keep MVP down. It was really weird. And it probably cost him the fight in the long run because as tiring as it is to shoot takedowns, it's a lot more tiring to keep a dude down for like 20 minutes when that's not your thing. It goes against everything you've acclimated yourself to throughout your career. MVP is obviously like a flawed fighter. I shouldn't say failed. His wrestling is not great. His defense isn't great. He does not have a good way to draw out the counter. Like he'll snipe on you from the outside with like the jab and a couple of kicks, but he really does not have a way to get guys to engage with him in a way where he could throw that right hand and really knock them out. But he's confident. He apparently can fight for 5 rounds, even when he's losing it. And those are just valuable skills to have. I don't know how. I think Douglas Lima should beat the brakes off him though. Like I'm not seeing good things in his immediate future. Like I don't think he's winning this tournament.
Yeah, see, I was wrestling around in my head with that fight because my first thought was like Lima himself is not the most like active guy, so I think we could see parts in that fight where they're both just kind of like
Staring at each other.
Yeah, there could be a lot of that, but I think another thing, a couple things Lima has going for his favor. The man has some of the hardest leg kicks in the sport. If he can get a couple of those off, and I don't think it would take a lot of them. Like if he can get a couple of them off on MVP,
if he lands one on those bony ass legs of MVP, they might snap.
It's going to be a problem. It is going to be.
I was actually really counting on Daly to throw the leg kick a lot more. He just didn't do it. Like he missed on a few of them, like whiffed on them too. Well, it could be just a distance and range thing, but
so I'm like, yeah, Lima's got leg kicks. Lima is excellent fighting going backwards, so MVP, maybe he'll land a shot and try to blitz him, and he might get caught with something, and he might get slept. Who knows? Maybe we'll see we'll see Lima get a takedown. And he's pretty heavy-handed.
Yeah. Like if he catches Page, like he can't put him out.
Yeah. So yeah, that's gonna be an interesting fight. But yeah, I'm kind of siding with you. Like, I mean, MVP for all the talent he has, all the flash and the pizzazz. Lima's kind of been there, done that. I don't think, and he's a smart enough fighter that I think he can just kind of maneuver his way around that fight, and yeah, he could probably put MVP out. But we'll see. We'll see how
you
that
never
goes.
know.
Yeah, this sport kind of wild.
This is the only main event, by the way, this weekend that actually like
didn't end via injury.
It was no freak show,
right?
Scenario.
Yeah, it was a normal fight. Not really exciting, but it was a normal. You know, yeah, it was just normal. But MVP won unanimous decision. He got 48-47 across the board. So congrats to him. We'll get to see him versus Lima later. That'll be later this year.
Probably in May. I think they booked it already.
Yeah. I think they had a date. It's sometime like close to the summer or around like May. But yeah, we'll get to see that. So that'll be an interesting fight. Moving down. I'm realizing now that I'm looking at this card, specifically at this fight, that I don't remember this fight. Like, I don't remember what happened. But Mirko Cro Cop made his Bellator debut, fighting Mr. Roy Nelson.
Yes, he out kickboxed the crap out of Roy Nelson. That's basically it.
All I remember is Roy Nelson being mad at the decision, like he thought.
Roy Nelson thinks he won every fight he's ever been in, including the ones where he's been knocked out. So, like he needs to like. Oh, that by the way, if you want to know how freaking deranged Roy Nelson is, apparently he bit Cro Cop during the fight, threatened him with like a weapon after the fight, like told the athletic commission that he had slippery feet or some shit, like. And like, Cro Cop had to report Nelson to like the athletic commission. They had to search Nelson's locker room for a weapon. Like, yeah, no, like, dude, Roy, what are you doing with your life? Chillax.
Yeah, I'm a Roy Nelson fan, but that's a little too much, bro. You gotta sit down. Just go chill out.
Learn to lose. God, you've done it 17 times.
Oh man, yeah, it is what it is, Roy. You got to take the L sometimes, bro. The cookie don't always crumble in your favor. But you know, congrats to Cro Cop. I don't know how old he is, I forgot, but he's out here still winning.
Cro Cop is legitimately like in that crafty veteran, I'm still getting better even if I'm physically deteriorating like range of like his career.
Yeah, like the skill set's still
It's
there.
still there and is adapting to the fact that he's not, the same dude he was when he was 25. But he's still there.
Oh, shout out to Crow Cop holding it down for all the.
He would
seniors.
absolutely wreck Fedor if they fought right now. And I say that knowing that they are somebody somewhere is trying to make that fight, whether it's Sakaki Ibarra or Coker.
I don't want to think about that. It's another topic for another day. But Crow Cop won via unanimous decision. Oh my God, this next fight.
So, Sensei, if you paid a man, what was it, like $300,000, like his first fight on like a $1.5 million deal, and that was the performance he turned in, how would you feel?
I'm gonna refer to our contract and the secret page that says refund. If I'm not satisfied, I'm making something up and I'm getting my money back. Or you can keep the $300,000, but the rest of this contract, we're shredding that.
Dude, after Minakov almost got the shit beat out of him by, who was his name, DJ Linderman, they should have shredded that contract and just let him go to Bellator and go to the UFC or whatever the hell he wanted to do, because like that was not worth $300,000.
Yeah, this fight was yeah. As somebody who was really hyped and like happy to see Minakov back in Bellator, within about a round, I was like, "Oh no, this is gonna be one of those."
Was that worth a freaking 6-year holdout?
Yeah,
whatever it was, like.
And I'm not the guy to like bash fights, but this was not good. It was not good at all. Like, he kept like flailing in with that right hand. It just looked, I don't know. Like the first round, I was like, all right, maybe not ring rut. Well, yeah, because he hadn't fought in like 2 years.
No, they fight Tony Johnson not too long ago.
Yeah, that was a couple of years ago.
Really?
I don't think that
was. Oh wow, you're right. It was 2017.
Yeah, so I was like, you know what? First round, all right, maybe ring rust. I guess, I don't know. Getting his feet back under him, whatever. I'll give you a pass. And the second and third round, it didn't get better. And I was kind of mad at Congo because, like, I wanted Minakov to win this fight, but then it got to the point where I was like, you know what? I don't care who wins this anymore. I want this off my screen. I want this to be over. And Congo wasn't doing himself any favors in the beginning either. And I'm like, Minakov is just kind of out here flailing around. And it's like, Congo, check, if you could just string together one, like, coherent, cohesive combo, you can make this a fight. Like,
I mean, but no, he has to go for a takedown.
Yeah,
the clinch. Like that's where Chicago. That's where Chicago makes his money. He was a former world championship wrestler. Don't forget.
Like, I'm just watching this. Like, what is on my screen right now? Like, what?
I mean, he turned it up in the third round. Like he was really going hard towards the end of it.
Yeah. And I'm going to guess ultimately. The thing is, I think, to be honest, I think Minakov won the first 2 rounds. Congo definitely won the last because like you said, he finally like, oh, I'm in a fight. I can punch and kick and like do stuff. But to be honest, like by the end of the fight, because it was so bad, I didn't care that the guy who I thought won didn't win, because I just didn't care. Like, if y'all say Congo wins, he wins. As long as this is off my screen, I'm happy. Because this is a bad fight. And like I said, I'm not the guy who really complains about a lot of fights, even if they're boring. But this was not a good fight. This, for for somebody of Vitaly's skill set that we've seen before, and even for Congo, even though he doesn't always put on like the best, we've kind of seen him in some.
A lot.
Yeah, but it's just like this is what y'all did. Like this, y'all did all this training, and this is what we got. Like
you have all this money to invest in the fighters, and this is what you spent $2 million on. Like
yeah, and literally my first thought after this fight, regardless of who would have won this, even if Minakov would have got his hand raised, first thought after this fight was over, like, oh, Ryan Bader's the heavyweight champ.
Yeah.
That's
I told y'all. Heavyweight's bad. Ryan Bader's here. Get used to it.
Yeah. Ryan Bader's taking the
I think the real question is Ryan Bader going to fight Crow Cop or Congo next?
Yeah, because I know Crow Cop has only one fight in his Bellator career, but if we're judging based off performances that were impressive, Crow Cop has to get the nod. And as bad as that sounds, because Congo, he's on like a pretty good streak.
Dude,
right now.
Congo's like the winningest heavyweight in Bellator history.
Right. Dude, is it 8?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins in a row. 9, 10, 11, 12. And he's like 12-2 in Bellator overall.
But you know what's funny? Last loss was to a 205.
One that Ryan Bader knocked out in the first 15 seconds of their fight.
But, like, since 2015, Cheick Kongo's last loss was to King Mo at Bellator 134 in 2015. Since then, he's reeled off 8
I'd like to point out, like, he beat Alexander Volkov during that run.
Right. Beat Volkov, beat Tony Johnson.
Realistically, Cheick Kongo is a top 15 heavyweight, and there's nothing anybody else can say about that, because it's true and you know it.
So he's got a good streak going, but it's like, bro, after that performance, man, I'm not. The only thing that makes me want to put you against Bader is that this might just make Bader look good. Like, he might just go in there and mollywop you or take you down and just kind of beat you up. But in terms of, like, if I want to put on a fight that I think could be somewhat competitive, yeah, I'm not throwing Congo in there against Bader. And that sounds crazy to me to even say out loud, but it's... Maybe I've just been shortchanging Bader. Yeah, he's going to come in there with that leaping left hook. He's going to get Congo out of there. Or he's just going to wrestle him and just... If Congo comes in like that, like he did in those first 2 rounds, that fight's going to be a wash. Lord, I can't remember the last time... I can't think... This Minakov performance, I can't think of many other fights that I've been so disappointed in. Yeah, this one hurt. This as a Minakov fan, as somebody who wanted to see him, like a couple years ago, I was calling for him, or a lot of us were, to be in the UFC because like he was clearly like the best heavyweight outside of the UFC when he was on his.
It just seems pretty clear. MMA's just been like an afterthought in his life because like he has a government job, if I remember correctly.
I don't know. I don't know, but I'm not itching to see a Minakov fight again. This left a pretty bad. This left a pretty bad taste in my mouth. So Cheick Kongo got the win, unanimous decision. Maybe he didn't really win the fight. You probably could argue that Minakov won the first 2 rounds, but like I said, the fight was so bad that I don't care. I don't care who won, because we all lost.
I mean, Cheick Kongo won.
Yeah, he won.
Cheick Kongo out here just silently beating one of the most consistent heavyweights on the planet.
Right. yeah. That's MMA for you. Cheick Kongo, inconsistent.
Wait, hold up. Wait. He beat Javier Ayala, who was coming off win over Sergey Kharitonov.
Yeah, he's Congo for all bad I can say about the performance. He's been holding it down.
Like the man is like 45 years old and still plugging away.
Yeah, post UFC career has actually treated him pretty well. He's been out here, but that fight, boy, watch that at your own risk.
And if you want to laugh at Bellator, I say go for it, because again, they didn't need to do all this for a Russian heavyweight. Nobody in the U.S. probably cares about. Like, they could have took that money, invested it in, some young dudes who could potentially be the next guy. Yeah, I don't know. They could have probably marketed some of their other champions a little better with like $300,000, $2 million for the next 2 years. But now they were like, we really need Vitaly Minakov back. Maybe this is like the trade-off for Fedor. They were like, okay, we'll give him more money if you come back and fight in the tournament for us. I don't know.
One of them back and you got him. Man, is what you got. But that was that fight. That moving on.
Wait. You know what this means? Czech Congo is the lineal Bellator heavyweight champion.
He beat Volkov and Minakov. Wasn't Volkov the champion?
Yeah, he was, and then Minakov took it off him.
So Congo's champ.
Congo is the official Bellator, lineal Bellator.
Oh man, Congo's the GOAT on the low. On the low, Congo's the GOAT. Oh boy. Yeah, that's. I don't know, but Bellator. Just Bellator.
I guess Cole Conrad's still the lineal Bellator heavyweight champion, but he's gone.
Yeah.
Dairy products aren't going to sell themselves.
Boy, oh boy. Moving on to other happenings. Yaroslav Amosov versus Eric Silva. I should know up to this point that Eric Silva fights are things that I shouldn't get excited for, but I'm stupid, so I still hold on to that 1% hope. Silva looked good in the first round. He looked okay. This was a typical Eric Silva fight where in the first round he looks good, he's striking good, things are going his way, he's full of energy. Second, third round, not so much. Yaroslav just able to take him down, tire him out, beat him up a little bit, and the Silva we saw in the first round just continued to disappear more and more, so he just kind of withered away. Amosov just really, this fight was basically, he weathered the storm in the first round, and then in the second and third, he just came back and poured it on Silva. Just be able to really dominate with his wrestling, grappling, so on and so forth. And I forgot his record. He's undefeated, right?
Amosov, yes.
Yeah. So he's at so many wins and I don't know. I forgot what his actual record
21
is.
21-0.
I think it's So 21-0, Bellator welterweight. Like I didn't think his performance was good. At 21-0, I'm not saying he's like a world beater, but
I mean, it's a nice record to throw somebody at.
Yeah.
Like, see if he, like, he's only 25. He's still developing. Like, I wasn't blown away by what I saw. Like, I'm one of those people who thinks like Eric Silva's gotten better actually since like he was getting knocked out by stun gun.
I think he fights smarter. But it's just like
the gap is still there in knowledge and in the athleticism. It was so key to his game. It was a solid performance. It was like a workman performance from Amosov. I don't know how he handles the top of the division, but he doesn't have to worry about that because they're all busy murdering each other.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he could fight Koreshkov or something, but I think Koreshkov is fighting. Who's he fighting? He's fighting in April, I think, or next month.
But we'll see. Yaroslav handled business. Eric Silva. Oh, this was his Bellator debut, right?
No, I want to say this is like his second fight.
Is it?
Unless he pulled out his first fight. No, it was his first fight. Oh yeah, he was supposed to fight Lawrence Larkin last year, and then that fight ended up falling through.
Probably dodged a bullet. I don't know. But Eric Silva continues to do Eric Silva things. Meanwhile, Yaroslav Amosov is continuing his undefeated streak. So, congrats to him. Kind of is what it is. And the last fight on the main card, we mentioned her on the podcast when she got signed. Valerie Lareda, Taekwondo ace, coming over to MMA flyweight, fighting Kobe Fletcher. As a Taekwondo fighter, you would think we'd get some kicks. There were no kicks. She came out with them hands.
There were kicks. She threw the axe kick, the spinning hook kick, and the kick that ended the fight. That for some reason, like, she kicked her in the body so hard that Kobe, like, her head snapped back, like she got rocked, and then proceeded to fall to the ground.
All right, my memory shot. I didn't, like I said, I only got a chance. I didn't rewatch any of the Bellator card. I just remember, like, oh, she won with the hands, like.
No, but she was really aggressive with the hands, which I did not expect. She was out there throwing bombs, which is good. It's easier to cut. It's easier to train an aggressive fighter to be more productive with their offense than it is to train a passive fighter to be more aggressive. Yeah. And then she went out. She went out there, got the first round knockout, and proceeded to cut just like the best promo that any Bellator fighter's probably ever cut since, like, Marcus Galvao won the title and said he finally fulfilled his promise to his dead mom.
Yeah, she went out there, man. All the tears were out. I think she cried from the time she won until she left the cage. She never stopped.
Like, crying. She is young. She's only 20.
Yeah.
She's been through a lot. Her mom, her mom's battle with leukemia, essentially missing out on the Olympics because, she's missed so much time training, just taking care of her family because she was responsible for her sister as well. Her parents were dealing with that. And you could tell this was just super important to her.
Yeah, and she came out there and she got that done real quick. Yeah, about barely not even 3 minutes into the fight, she got it finished.
Hopefully they don't do what they did to what's her name, Heather Hardy, is run her ragged.
Yeah, because she's literally new to MMA. Like, bring her along slowly.
I mean, and she's younger and she seems like a more adept athlete for MMA than Heather Hardy did, but why risk it? You got somebody who could be special.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think if you take your time and build her up, she could be. That could be another face, of the company. A la seemed like a Lee McFarland's turning into. Right. You might have another one of those on your hands if you build her up.
And that could be a big fight for you.
Right. So, yeah, and also, like I said, in women's flyweight, in a division that starting to get more established. So you kind of want to bring your prospects up slowly so they pan out right. But it'd be a big congrats to her. Like I said, super emotional win. She looked good, real aggressive. Definitely looking forward to seeing her fight again. And we'll see how her career progresses from this point. But that was the main card. To be honest, I think Lareda and I'll say Lareda and Crocop probably had the best, I guess you say, fights. Well, Raiders didn't last that long, but
they had the best moments. Like,
Yeah,
best
because
feel
this
good
card as a
moments.
whole yeah, because this card as a whole, kind of like the last one, was kind of it's cool, but not
Yeah.
great.
We don't gotta talk about the prelims, but just the one Tyrell Fortune went out there and knocked some guy, literally some guy. His name is
Ryan.
I was
Por-
Prokrifke.
Ryan ate some right
Yeah.
hands.
Right hand.
That's what happened
Ate
to
a
Ryan.
knee on the way down. Like, just that's probably the most comfortable Tyrell Fortune's looked in MMA so far. So if you're keeping up with his development, like he looked good. So
Yeah, good things happen at heavyweight.
In Bellator,
right, which is that's an amazing
they're
thing.
one good heavyweight prospect.
And he said I think that was him. They said that they mentioned during the fight. Yeah, he wants to fight names now. Like he said, he's tired of fighting nobodies. I don't know. We'll see how that turns out. But as hard as he hits, he might be able to give anybody some problems. So we'll see. But congrats to him. I'm glad he is out here doing well. So that was Bellator 216. For Bellator, it was a very meh weekend, to be honest. Like there were moments here and there, but overall, it's just kind of
like, guys, you guys need to stop relying on these heavyweights to get you like views and stuff.
Yeah, Matt Mitrione and Karatanov is not.
That's not what we want in 2019. Like,
yeah, that ain't it, Chief.
Like, yeah, like we don't want to see Czech Congo and freaking like, and that's the thing. Like, if you're gonna do these fights, like, spread them out at least. Like, make them all co-main events on some other card with like more interesting fights at the top.
Right.
And I can't even say that because the freaking upcoming cards are, well, only one of them is constructed so far. It's the Gallagher card where he's headlining after getting knocked out. Riddle me that. And then the one after that, I think, is Koreshkov, and that's the only fight on the card. Koreshkov Larkin, I think it is.
Oh,
yeah.
Boy.
I don't know. I think trying to match the UFC schedule in terms of just like, okay, we have to put out so much content is probably not the smartest thing.
Yeah, because they don't have the depth.
Like, and you see it with LFA too, where they're running like 30 cards and a year, and like they're already up to 60, and they've only been around a couple years. It's really concerning.
I don't know. Well, we'll see. But yeah, that was Bellator 216. Like I said, all in all for Bellator, kind of just a meh weekend. Minus a few moments here and there. So I don't know. You go back, check them out. Maybe just check out the fights that you were interested in as a fan to watch. But you don't got to go through the trouble of watching the entire card. Just pick a fighter you wanted to see. Go see how they did. You probably move on with the rest of your day. Just watch highlights. You didn't miss a ton, to be honest.
Speaking about not missing a ton. Oh, God. And heavyweights who need to retire.
Yeah, moving on to the main event of this podcast.
So, before we talk about the actual fights, I just want to point something out. UFC on ESPN 1. First broadcast on ESPN. Or main card broadcast, I should say. I like the slight adjustments they've made to the programming. Like, I like having like Trevor Whitman there. Like, he's not always great, but like I like having somebody there who can give an opinion about like what corner advice was. I liked the stuff they were doing with Megan O'Leary, where she was just like randomly walking around, and like all of a sudden she's in the octagon explaining what's about to happen. Did not like the dude who was pretending to pick his own nose behind her.
Hey, man, everybody wants their 15 minutes.
That's the 2019 version of the Just Bleed guy.
Yeah.
What else? Like, they just did things slightly different, and it made the broadcast feel more full. So I will give them credit for that. Like, I think I'm gonna like this deal moving forward.
Yeah, it seems things seem like they just run smoother. Like the event feels like it flows good. It's paced well. Like it feels like things are just moving along as I'm
Right.
watching. Like it's a cohesive. It's a nice fluid experience.
What's not fluid?
Yeah. Yeah. Heavyweight MMA.
Cain Velasquez's knees. Oof.
Yeah. Not fluid.
I mean, they
at
might
all.
be fluid now. Nothing but liquid.
Yeah. Yeah. So main event UFC on ESPN, which went down Sunday night in Arizona. Yeah. You know what? Before we even talk about the fights, the Arizona crowd is trash.
Yeah, Phoenix, what the hell?
Like, yeah, y'all are trash. Like all of y'all. Like, all right, maybe like there might have been a section. I ain't gonna say all of y'all, but I'm gonna say 98% of that crowd was
Garbage.
trash. Yeah.
Like, I appreciated Courtney Casey's family and friends, I guess, who were like out there with like the cast iron Casey signs and stuff, because I thought that was cool, because we don't get to see a lot of signs at MMA events. But like that was basically it. The rest of y'all suck. I get it. You live in the hottest city in America. It makes you a jerk, but control yourself.
Yeah, y'all gotta calm down.
Y'all booing, and these people out here like getting like CTE. Like what is wrong with you?
Like, and we'll get to the fight eventually, but like I remember during the Holtzman Lentz fight, which not two fighters that I'm like really big fans of or pay much attention to, but dudes are out there just like slinging, and then as soon as they clinch, it's a boo fest, and it's like, dude, they just punched each other in the face for like 5 minutes straight. I think if they want to clinch for a little bit, you're fine. Like it's okay. But we'll get to that later. But main event, Cain Velasquez, Francis Ngannou. Pretty much the storyline around this fight. We haven't seen Cain in God knows how long. So he's coming back. What's he gonna look like? Are we gonna get the old Cain, or is he gonna be depleted? How's Ngannou gonna look? He had his little stint of fights that were kind of terrible, but he bounced back against Curtis Blades. Is Cain gonna be able to hang with that power? And just, I knew this fight was gonna end bad within like the first 5 seconds when it starts, and Cain is bouncing around and throwing kicks, and I just thought that was really awkward.
So my thought process is, okay, he's trying to get, like Chris Weidman did against, God, what's his name, Munoz, where he's trying to get the other guy to stand up straight so that he can go underneath for the takedown, which is what he tried. Problem being, this isn't 2013 anymore. And Velasquez moves much like his contemporaries in the heavyweight division. That's to say, not very quickly. And the second he went up against Ngannou, like strength for strength, it looked like he hit a wall.
Yeah, he came to. It's funny you say that, because when the way he moved around and approached this fight, to me, it literally did look like Cain thought he was back in 2010, and that he was just gonna go in there and fight somebody who clearly didn't have his skill set, wouldn't be able to hang with his strength, or he was just gonna go in there and just kind of steamroll him. And it's like, bro, this is a new breed now. You can't.
It's not even that. It's just that you're not that guy anymore.
Yeah. That and your comeback fight. props to Kane for like taking this fight, but this is not the guy you want to have a comeback fight.
Literally.
Especially coming off of an injury.
Literally the last guy you want to have a comeback fight against. Besides maybe like Stipe. Because the entirety of Francis Ngannou's game is like reads and like ridiculous amounts of just hand-eye coordination. Where he doesn't even have to have like good distance on you to know that he can get into a position to hit you. Like, it took Stipe Miocic a ridiculous amount of like being able to box with him and to throw off his reads to be able to do that. And Cain Velasquez has never been that type of dude. Like, he is just, I'm putting my head down and we're going to just bang it out. Like, my wrestling against your striking, and I'm just going to be quicker and stronger than you. And he was never going to be quicker and stronger than Ngannou. Like, there were two things that were guaranteed in this fight. It's that Ngannou would be big, strong, and have, like, amazing hand-eye coordination. And Cain Velasquez would, like, try to come forward and, like, cause collisions because that's what Cain Velasquez does, because that's the only way he knows how to fight. Because if you go back and watch the Verdun fight, he did that repeatedly and just ended up making himself tired.
All right, so let's get to the finish, which only took 26 seconds to happen, because the finish was kind of wild. So I don't even really know how to describe this to anybody who didn't see it, but. So they have just this little flurry moment, I guess, if you want to call it. They're in close quarters. They're kind of throwing. Kane came in kind of reckless.
Trying to get the takedown.
Yeah. He rushed in, and Ngannou was like, "No, we're not having any of that." I don't even know if the first two punches Ngannou threw landed. I think somebody said like the second one caught the back of Kane's head. I don't even remember. It all happened
I got it right
fast.
Here. Let's see. So Kane shoots. Ngannou's just like, nope. Doesn't even like sprawl. He just pushes off on him.
Pushes him, yeah. It's like, bro, just get off me. Like, just get
he
off.
pushes him, angles out, hits him with an uppercut, and then like hits him with a hook that lands like kind of right behind the ear. It's like glancing, but you know, Ngannou.
Yeah,
he can look at you hard and knock you out, like.
And the shot that nobody seems to be talking about is the uppercut that happened like right before Kane's knee.
Yeah, like
just kind of
like, and Velasquez tried to play it off at the press conference as he didn't hit me clean. My body just gave out, which is not a good. That's not a good excuse. But yeah, no, he landed that uppercut. And that seemed to be the thing that sent Cain Velasquez hurtling forward.
Well, I just seen an article, and this was just posted this morning. According to Kane, his side of the story, he says he wasn't touched. He said he didn't even touch me. It was the knee. Once I felt the knee buckle, that was it. None of his punches did anything to me to where I was unbalanced or anything. It was just a freak thing that happened. He said he took one step, and his knee just gave out. Well, he took one step on his left foot. He felt something pop. He took another step, and it just gave out.
So can we just let's rewind really quickly to December 2016 when Cain Velasquez was getting ready to rematch Fabricio Verdum, and he went to the media and was like, "Yeah, I need cannabis oil to walk, let alone train, because walking hurts." And then the Nevada State Athletic Commission, not even like a week or two later, pulls him from the fight because they rule him medically unfit to compete. Now, Sensei, what amazing fight occurred last November. The trilogy bout between Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz. Chuck Liddell got licensed for that fight.
Yeah.
Like, that should tell you how low the bar is to be licensed to fight in the United States. And Cain Velasquez couldn't even clear that bar.
Yeah, that says
This
a
was
lot.
poorly thought out by everybody involved.
And like, because a lot of people, I'm still seeing literally this still being argued like on the timeline literally at this moment about like Ngannou didn't win. It's just Velasquez's knee.
I mean, no.
Listen, y'all. I don't like to be the bearer of bad news. I like Cain too, even though he destroyed my homeboy JDS's career. So I'm like a little salty about that. But like that aside, listen, man.
It makes you feel any better. It seems like those fights also ruined his own career.
Like, listen, man. This fight probably wasn't gonna end any other way. Like, y'all can't tell me in good faith, with a straight face, that Cain coming in here throwing these little kicks and trying to rush Francis Ngannou, thinking he was gonna overpower him, that this fight was really gonna end any other way. I'm sorry, I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think his knee probably did give out.
Yeah. And I'm not saying his knee did. I'm pretty sure his knee. I mean, you could see it. It clearly buckled. So yeah, I'm not saying his knee didn't give out. Like, that definitely.
He also
happened.
hit his head against Ngannou's chest. It seemed to have hurt himself.
I'm just saying that knee, no knee, vibranium knee, two knees, whatever you want to say. I don't think this fight ends any other way. Better his knee go out than his head get lifted off. Because I just don't see how this fight would have went. Maybe I could be. I'm banking on the fact that I'm gonna stand 100% behind the statement. I could be wrong. Maybe he comes back another fight and proves me wrong. But I don't see it. Like, I just think there was a reason this guy was out of the sport for so long, and I know that hurts. Like, I get it, man. When Cain was in his prime, the dude was just a freak. He was out here just steamrolling everybody. It was amazing to watch. The dude was he was unstoppable. Listen, man, all the Supermans in this sport have gotten their capes ripped off at some point, and I think this just might have been, this was just kind of his moment. Like, it happens. It happens. But I don't know. Maybe we'll see him back. I don't know.
No.
He said he felt good.
No, I don't want to see him back. I don't want to see him fight ever again. I don't want to see him walk ever again. Like, this man should not be fighting. Like, this man should not be training. Oh my,
yeah.
It's only going to get worse.
And the thing is, like, even if, let's just hypothetically speaking, let's say, in alternate reality, we'll take Cain's word. All right, let's say none of the punches really like landed flush, and it was just his knee that just kind of gave out. Even considering just that, considering Cain's injury history, which we all know is very well documented, if your knee just randomly buckled and nobody hit you, considering your injury history, your age, the amount of punishment your body has been through in the sport, that's still not a good sign. To me, that almost makes it worse, that nobody hit you. And it's not like it was a Chandler Primus where, like, you know, you got leg kicked and, like, your leg just, like, died somehow. You had to drag it. You know, it wasn't one of those. So you're saying nobody literally hit you and your knee just, you know. And it'd be different if Cain was like 20, you know, 23, 25. I was like, all right, his knee gave out, whatever, he's young, heal up, come back, we'll see you next time around. Dude is in his mid-30s. He spent a good amount of his career injured. This just isn't, you can't spin this and make it like a feel-good Like, I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see any way you can spin this and make it seem like no big deal or his knee just gave out. He'll be back. Like, no, this is bad.
This is 15 seconds into a fight. His knee gave out. That's what you're telling me. A man who has a history of just every joint in his body just being bad.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, no, like it's not good.
This is the point, and we'll get off this fight because like it's not a ton to talk about other than I feel like the aftershock is really more than to talk about than the actual fight. But like this is the point where like we mentioned on this podcast a lot, where like I feel like this needs to happen across all sports, but I feel like MMA is just really bad at this. Like, we gotta start protecting the athletes. Like, we gotta start saving them from themselves. Like, dude, like I know, and I'm not saying like it's the easiest thing to do. Like, I'm pretty sure he's been fighting for a good part of his life. It's something he loves. It was something he was historically great at. But like at some point, man, you gotta let it go. Like, you can't throw him back out there in good conscience, and especially after that, like seeing his knee blow out, just like I don't want to see that for him. I don't want to see him try to come back in like another 6 months, and we have like some repeat, and just nah, man. I'm good. You gave me enough memories. You wrecked pretty much almost everybody you fought, minus like 2 people. You gave me enough footage that I'm happy, and your place is etched in MMA history and heavyweight MMA history. And you know what? Even with this performance, I'm not gonna take it away from you. I'm not gonna overlook what you've done, the people you beat, how you beat them. But at some point, bro, we gotta stop. We gotta stop, man. Don't add any more to this. That's that though. I hope he heals up. I hope his. I don't know how bad the injury was, so I hope it's not anything too crazy. But yeah, man. Just
So
that's the chapter we might just have to close.
So according to Dana White, Daniel Cormier's next opponent is all worked out. No idea who it is. Probably Lesnar or Miocic, unless he also out with a back injury. Ngannou versus let's see, the winner of JDS. Who's JDS fighting again? Oh, Derek Lewis.
I think you only do that if JDS wins. I don't think any of us need another Lewis and Ngannou was not a rematch I'm looking forward to on my calendar.
I mean, heavyweight's kind of running thin right now. I mean, if they're not doing the Stipe fight, like they could, I guess you don't want to do that either. I don't know.
Top of that division's weird.
Who's Alexander Volkov coming off of?
Oh, no, he's fighting Overeem.
Oh, right. So if he beats Overeem, maybe they do that fight.
We'll see. But main event, man, that you can watch the whole fight in a GIF pretty much. Well, I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah,
I hope they come out with a different camera angle for that knockout, because they only had the one that they kept replaying from behind Ngannou. That
was kind of the only one though that you could see the uppercut from. Kind of, sort of. At least you can infer that he landed.
But I mean, they got cameras on all 8 pillars. They should be able to come up with like another angle that's a little cleaner, right?
Yeah, I would guess. Yeah, I don't know, but the MMA gods came through on this main event and they shut it down. They said nobody's having fun. All y'all kids got to go home, and they sent us home. So that was the main event, man. It is what it is. But moving on.
Real quick, point out 3 ESPN cards, 3 first-round finishes in the main event. 2 of which didn't probably even go 45 seconds.
All right.
I wonder if ESPN's happy. Well, on ESPN Plus, it probably doesn't freaking matter, but like on ESPN proper, like I can't imagine they're too happy with that. So, yeah, it's the fight business for a reason. This is why TV stations never really like boxing, because they never knew when the fight was going to be over, and they had all this time.
Yeah. It's just one of them things. But that fight is what it is. We'll see what they do with Ngannou next. And Kane, I hope the knee heals up. But moving on to better happenings. Co-main event: Paul Felder, James Vick. Good to see Felder outside of the commentary booth and back fighting. Not that I don't like his commentary, but
well, you're not gonna see him in the commentary booth for a while because he punctured his lung in the last round of this fight. Yeah, no, he's in the hospital right now.
Lord, well, I guess not too shocking considering just Felder's fight seems to always be pretty violent. So the man he's one of those fighters. Like that's just. You get a Felder fight, you know that violent happenings are going down, whether he wins or loses. So yeah, Felder and Vick, it was a pretty fun fight. I was trying to figure out the words to frame Vick's performance because he had moments like Vick, obviously really rangy, really long and lanky for the division. When he did decide to like move forward and like he might lunge in with like a 3-punch combination, he was catching Felder because he's so long and rangy. Like, and Felder's not like the most defensively sound fighter I've ever seen. He's not terrible, but like he's hittable. You can catch him. And like Vick, when he decided to lunge in, was catching him, but I don't know, was it me? It could have been a result of those calf kicks that Felder was just abusing James Vick with. But for some reason, I don't know, to me, Vick seemed like he was just like off the fight. Like, he wasn't using his range as well as I've seen him do in other fights. Felder was tagging him with a couple hard shots. Felder in these spinning back fists and elbows, I feel like he just practiced these in his sleep because he just throws them and they just land. Like like he just knows the perfect time to get them off. I don't know if Felder just got Vick really uncomfortable.
I think that was it. Felder was really aggressive early, and like I aggression is just James Vick's kryptonite. Like, that's how Beneil Dariush got him out of there. That's how Justin Gaethje got him out of there. Like, Felder refused to respect Vick's distance, length, and like you said, those kicks just like get rid of your base real quick.
And I'm almost gonna say, and I'm only saying this based off of from what they were saying about the corners. I'm gonna say like Felder. I think Felder like mentally took Vick out of the fight because they said like after the first round, when Felder was landing the calf kicks, that like Vick goes back to the corner, tells the coach, "Oh yeah, my calves hurt." Okay.
What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, like okay, we're in a fight. Like, yeah, your body's gonna. I mean, I get it. Like, he's landing them really hard, but like if you just focus on, oh, my leg hurts, like you're not. Where's your? I don't know the word, resolve. I don't know if that's even the word to use, but it seemed like he got mentally taken out of the fight. Like, Felder just gave him so much that I think he just kind of got overwhelmed. And it's not like Vick didn't have moments. Like, he tagged Felder a couple of good times himself, but Felder just, like you said, the man just, he didn't go away. And I think to Felder's credit, because we haven't seen him, I can't remember the last time he fought. Was the Mike Gray fight his last time? What year was it? Was that?
Yeah, it was July.
Yeah. But Felder looked really good, though. Like, some of the best one of the better fights I've seen of Felder. Like he looked, like you said, really aggressive. Did not care what Vic was throwing. He was about that life. But the spinning attacks just on point. Clinch work was pretty good. He got caught a couple of times coming out to clinch. I think Vic caught him like an elbow once. But Felder's just really creative with his striking. But it's not like he's not out there just flailing and like wasting moments. Like he knows when to throw these spinning strikes. He knows he's very skilled at what he does, and he knows when to pull the trigger, and combine that with just like that kind of Iron Man toughness to where I'm just kind of like I'm just not really gonna go away. I'm just gonna stay in your face. The man is a handful to deal with, and I think he just kind of overloaded Vic with offense. And I mean, to Vic's credit, he took a lot of hard shots. Really, they both took a couple of hard shots, but Felder looked like that was a man on a mission. Like, to me, Felder looked like he was really trying to make a statement, and he went out there and he put them paws. He put some paws on James Vick.
Yeah. I really have a lot to add. Like is it like if you don't give Vic space, he is just he mentally checks out. I don't. I'm really trying to remember parts of the fight where like I had notes and stuff that I want to talk about, but I think he basically got everything. Like, I'm curious how long Felder is going to be out with the rib injury, because that he punctured his lung. That is painful.
Yeah, and that would suck too, because like is after in the post fight, like he said, he would love to fight Gaethje, and I'm all for that. Like, there are a lot of fun fights. I mean, really, any Paul Felder fight is a fun fight, but you know, you see a matchup like him and Gaethje, or even him versus Barboza. Like, there are a lot of good fights for him in this division. Yeah, it kind of sucks that you don't know how long this injury might keep him sidelined, because it's a bad injury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy Vic lost. You know, screwed.
I didn't like his haircut. I don't know if that's how he's had his haircut in all of his fights, and maybe I just didn't notice. But something about his haircut, he looked really like douchey.
I mean, that sounds like James Vick.
Yeah, could just be his face. I don't know. He has one of those like not likable faces.
Yeah, flexing whatever.
But yeah, he got punched for it, so it's all good. Elbowed and kneed and all that good stuff. So, see, but
thought like people keep telling James Vick to move up to like welterweight, and I'm not sure how well he does there, to be honest. Because he is really one of those who just does not handle pressure well, and if he's dealing with bigger dudes, we're gonna push him back and go on the fence and like go to town on him.
Yeah, I get the move in terms of like his size, and I don't know how his weight cuts are.
Like maybe he's quicker there, and like he's able to use that to get out of those situations. But it just feels like that's just a remedy to get knocked out again.
Yeah, I think the holes in his game don't have anything to do with weight. Like, him moving up to welterweight is not gonna. It's not gonna cure the problems that he has. Yeah, it might actually make them kind of worse. Because now you're gonna be fighting some, bigger dudes who.
You have real brick fists. Like.
Yeah.
All respect in the world to Beneil Darius, but he is not a brick-fisted individual.
But we'll see. But congrats to Felder, man. Awesome fight. Really one of his really good performance from him, and I hope he is able to heal up from that injury. That really sucks. Because in the division full of fun fighters, he's definitely a guy who you love to see fight night in and night out. So I definitely want to see him back, but we'll see how his injury goes. For James Vick. If you are a James Vick fan, I think these last two fights kind of solidify like he's not elite.
Which is fair. It's
elite.
lightweight. Like, who really is?
Yeah.
Let's be real. It's like
Yeah.
Barney Ferguson, Khabib Nurmagomedov, sometimes Conor McGregor.
Yeah, he might just be in kind of like that middle range. Like he'll string together a few wins, but when he gets to the big fight, probably not gonna happen. And that's just kind of is what it is. But congrats to Paul Felder on an awesome performance. Moving down, Cynthia Calvillo versus Courtney Casey. This fight was kind of weird to me. First thought, as with any Courtney Casey fight, I'm like, how does she make strawweight? Because she is.
Yeah, no, she is a big one.
She is like, I almost feel like she just needs to go up to flyweight. Like, I don't know how much of her camps is spent just on the weight cut, because she is huge for strawweight.
And it shows in the way she fights, because she is stiff as crud. Like, her and someone else we'll get to, Ashley Evans Smith, like, it's so noticeable that they are, you know, like that not just that they have big weight cuts, but the weight cut affects the way they fight.
Yeah, because with her size that she had over Calvillo, which was very apparent, like, I just thought it was weird that this fight turned into basically, I guess you could say, kind of like a kickboxing match. I was surprised Calvillo didn't go for more takedowns, but she seemed to be pretty comfortable on the feet, so it just kind of stayed there.
I'm curious, like, I don't remember commentary saying if they said, like, oh, she was planning to come out here and box with Casey, you know, to get her rounds in, or if, like, Calvillo, like, and this is like just been a conversation point around her as a prospect. Like, she doesn't seem like the strongest wrestler. Like, I'm struggling to remember a time where she actually, like, shot on somebody and was able to get them down. Like, maybe the first round against Esparza, before Esparza realized, oh, she really isn't going to stop me if I try to take her down. Just hold her there. But she outboxed Casey here. Yep. She was just a step ahead. She found success with, like, the jab to the body, the overhand upstairs. Casey just did not have it all going for her.
Calvillo just did a better job of just kind of mixing things up, and Casey was never able to really get in the rhythm. Casey almost, I don't know, I was really surprised at just, like, her lack of, like, output. Like, I just felt like she didn't really, it's not that she didn't throw, but I don't know, I guess I thought I was going to get more.
And I think that comes back to weight cut again, where, like, Casey is just not going to sit there and, like, when Casey was first introduced, I kind of had her pegged as, like, a Carlos Condit type, where, like, she'd throw, like, all this volume at you, and that would be the way she would, like, get people out of there, like, with this crazy, unique, like, spastic style of striking. But she just kind of tends to fight at whatever pace her opponent's fighting at. So if you're, like, picking her apart from the outside, she's going to try to pick you apart from the outside back. And she doesn't really have a skill set for that. Like, that's just not her. I mean, I don't know if Calvillo's, like, that was, like, the root of Calvillo's game plan or whatever, but she was just like, oh, if I'm just faster than her, like, there's just no way she's going to be able to touch me.
Yeah. And that's pretty much what happened. I guess, you know, a case of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Didn't need to go for a takedown, because clearly I'm just better on the feet.
Casey has physical tools she can use, but she just, for whatever reason, unless her opponent walks her into that position to use them, she just seems content doing whatever. It's really weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I would like to see Casey go up. Because I want to believe that, like, she's a lot more talented than what we've seen, and that maybe this weight cut is just kind of like, it might just be too much.
I just want to see her fight with, like, a game plan, because, like, it just seems like she goes out there and just fights whatever fight her opponent gives her.
Yeah.
Which is just not a recipe for success. Especially when you're not a finisher.
Yeah. But good on Calvillo. She won the fight in a fashion I didn't think she would, but like just completely all standing. So props to her. She called out Tatiana Suarez.
No. Like,
Yeah.
so for the longest time, I've had like a hard time seeing like Calvillo as like a blue chip prospect, mostly because Tatiana Suarez exists, and she's just better at everything Calvillo does. She's a better wrestler. She's a better grappler. Like you could argue she's a better striker.
Yeah, see, my thing with the Calvillo, I mean,
and she's bigger.
Props to her. She has that much confidence in herself, and clearly she's trying to go after the top dog. So I respect you for that. But I'm looking at how they match up, and I'm like, how can Calvillo finish this fight? Because you're not knocking Suarez out. Because like I said, she's not really like a power puncher. Grappling, you can throw that out the window. That's not happening. So it's like, I don't know what your avenue to win that fight is.
Suarez is a bigger, stronger, more experienced grappler.
Yeah, you talk about size difference again, because Suarez is pretty big for a strong, and then like that strength, like she has that different strength.
She has that. I was on the world, like I was competing at Worlds wrestling strength. Like, I am a legitimate medalist at the World Championships for freestyle wrestling strength. And Tatiana Suarez, Cynthia Calvillo was like a soccer player. Like no offense, like she proves she's like a really good athlete, but like it's just a difference in functional strength.
There's levels. There's levels to this.
We saw her try to wrestle friggin' Carlos Esparza, and then we saw Tatiana Suarez try to wrestle Carlos Esparza, and one of them looked a lot better than the other.
Yeah, but hey, man,
I'm not against the fight, like.
Yeah, if you believe in yourself, hey man, go for it.
Does Suarez have a fight lined up? Isn't she fighting like Mina Ansaroff or something? Or am I just making that up in my head?
I think Ansaroff has a bigger fight coming up. Can't remember who. But Calvillo though, man, good performance against Casey. I don't know how the Suarez fight goes, but hey man, you that bold to call it out, I ain't mad at it.
Yeah.
So if they book that. All right, so we'll see how that unfolds. But solid performance from Calvillo, showing she can get it done on the feet. So that was that fight. So Calvillo won via unanimous decision. Lord, this next fight, I got my feelings hurt. But this is a piggyback from our conversation earlier in the podcast that maybe 2019 is just the year of the Gracies. Kron Gracie is here in the UFC.
Tap out John Fitch and or Rory McDonald. Like it's crazy.
So Kron Gracie, man, he made his way to the UFC, fighting Alex Caceres, my man Bruce Leroy. Just for me by default, I always root for Bruce Leroy because he's Bruce Leroy. But boy, did this fight end pretty quick. Like once Kron got a hold of Caceres, it was pretty much.
You mean when Caceres turned his back on the guy who was trying to take his back? I can't help but feel like that was part of the matchmaking. Like we're gonna get Kron over. We're gonna give him somebody who's good, but who also has the fatal flaw that he needs to win. Yeah, like Kron is legit. Like he is the most legit Gracie since. Like I said, since Victor Gracie debuted at UFC 12 all those decades ago, I guess Roger's been good, but that was only like one. Hodger, my bad. However hell you say his name. Bruce Leroy was always going to throw like spinning crap that left his back acceptable to getting like taken, and Kron was just there to take it. Like they're saying he's gonna fight again in April. I'm like, I'm happy about that because like he disappeared for like 2 years after beating Kawajiri. I don't know, Dude might be legit.
Yeah,
like he's legit. Like he is a bona fide good featherweight now. He's got the names on his resume, but he might be the one. He might be the Gracie star that everybody's been waiting for.
And I think what's kind of scary about him is like, I mean, we didn't get to see a ton of his striking, but like he's one of those guys that like, I want you to take me to the ground. So on the feet, I'm gonna just do whatever, because if it happens to go to the ground, whether I pull guard or you knock me down, it's over once it gets to the ground. So like he has that always in his back pocket that, you know, it's that Damian Maia effect, kind of like that Jacare effect, where it's like you don't want to. If I grab anything of you, it might be.
I want to see it. I want to see that tested. I want to see somebody actually go to the ground with Kron the way that Gracie, like a Gracie would go to the ground. Not him getting a takedown, but getting taken down by like an Alexander Volkanovski and having him throw this wild, crazy ground and pound at his face.
I mean, I feel like we might as well just do Gracie and Ryan Hall.
That was the fight I wanted them to book when they signed him. But for whatever reason, Dana White hates Ryan Hall. Because he made her look bad or something. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I think that's the fight to make. And I mean, Ryan Hall didn't take much damage his last fight. Gracie didn't take much. I think that's the fight that could happen. Oh, you have your mic covered up. I can't hear you.
Do I?
Oh, not can hear you. There you go.
I must have cut out.
But no, yeah, Gracie's here. 2K19 takeover. We got Kron Gracie in UFC, Neiman Gracie in Bellator, who might realistically win a belt, albeit maybe for like one round, but he might win one. Yeah, Gracie's ain't playing this year. But no, we'll see. He's definitely Kron. You gotta keep an eye on him, because that boy, that jiu-jitsu serious. But congrats to him. He won via rear naked choke over Bruce Leroy. Hurt my heart, but you know, it is what it is. This next fight, low key, we might have like an early contender for like fight of the year, maybe at least an honorable mention of it. Vicente Luque and Brian Barberena. Oh yeah, this fight was very violent. It was a Barberena fight. There was just back and forth, just a lot of punch, just a lot of offense. And I thought Barberena did a good job earlier really he did it through a lot of the fight. Just a lot of combinations also, you know, 1-2s, jab, uppercut, something, just it was a lot of good, meaningful offense. Not so much defense, because both of them got hit a lot. I'll say Luque's defense was probably a little bit better. Barberena just seemed like his defense was, I'm just going to eat these shots and whatever. I'm going to just keep pushing forward. But nah, man, these two, Luque and Barberena, just went to war, back and forth, just really, really just slugging it out. And then we get to the third round, and Barberena's just, he has that rep, like he's just one of those guys that's insanely tough for no reason and just doesn't seem to die no matter what you throw at him. And Luque managed to rock him. Was it uppercut he caught him with? I can't remember like that finishing combination, but he rocked him with something that definitely like knocked his head back, and they clinched. Luque caught him with, I think, a knee coming down, and Barberena was like completely out of it. Luque followed up with some ground and pound, and you could just kind of tell by the way Barberena was responding, which he kind of wasn't. Like he was out. Like he was on the ground, his head was down. Like while he was getting punched, he wasn't even really like moving. Like he didn't try to roll to his back or grab a leg. Like he kind of was just eating him. Like that. I think that knee really, really put him out. And what makes it all the crazier is like there was only like 6 seconds left in the fight. Like that round was almost over.
There was a good chance Barberena was about to win it.
Yeah.
So
good on Luque, because yeah, like you said, but yeah, when I rewatched the fight, I think I did have it scored for Barberena, because Barberena to me was, I thought he put a little bit more pressure, and he was landing. They both landed a ton of hard shots, but I thought Barberena did better with like putting combinations together. I kind of felt like he was a bit more effective, but hey man, the fight ain't over until it's over, and Luque leaves a war and gets his hand raised, and it was a glorious happening. If there's one fight on this card you go back to rewatch, this is the one.
right. I just really want to see Luque against the top dude. Like, give me Luque versus Ponzinibbio. I mean, that's what I want.
He has a fight book though, doesn't he?
I think he called out RDA. I don't know if they're making the fight though.
Okay, yeah. But what's Luque's streak now? So, I feel like he's got a nice. He should have like a little decent.
4 in a row. It's Nico.
Yeah, you got Nico Price,
Chad LaPraise, Shaylin Turner, and now Brian Barberena. All by stoppage, by the way.
Yeah, I think he deserves like a top, and he also holds wins over. Also has a win over Bilal Muhammad.
Right.
Only loss as of recent was to Leon Edwards, but yeah, I think he deserves like a top 15. He deserves a name. I'll say that. Give the man a name. Clearly, he's out here finishing fights. He's just not fighting just to fight. He's trying to get guys out of there, and he's doing a pretty good job of that. It's been fun watching like these middle, like everybody in like the mid-tier welterweights. Like everybody's trying to claw up and be that next guy, and it's been fun to watch these guys go out and perform and see like who's trying to be the next of the bunch to kind of move up and, you know, potentially come that next guy. So yeah, Vicente Luque's out here, man. That was a war.
Yeah, no. Oh, he's fighting Neil Magny. Never mind. I was gonna say who's Eliza Zaleski fighting?
That's another guy out there. A couple of welterweights in that like that mid tier who are just kind of clawing up, and you know all of them out here just handling business. Who in the top 15 you think they could match Luque up with?
Like I said, I want to see him fight Pons. That's it. The one exciting fighter. At welterweight. Hold up. Let's see. Because I'm drawing a blank on who else is up there. Ooh, they have Jeff Neal up there. Ooh, that's probably a step too quick. Yeah, no, it'd be Pons, it'd be Lawler. I guess Masvidal would be my third. Because I think Luque probably starches Magny. Like, Luque low-key has some of like the hardest hands in the division.
Yeah, man can sling, and I don't think Brian Barberena's been finished before. Well, not knocked out. I don't think.
Nah, I don't think so.
Yeah, not that I can remember.
Dude is ridiculously tough.
Yeah, let me pull up his record real quick. The Colby loss was a decision, and the Chad LaPriest loss was a decision. His last finish was in 2010. He was armbarred. But he's never been... This is his first time, like, being knocked out. And this is a man who's, you know, he's fought some quality opponents and managed to not, you know... And we've seen it. The man is just insanely tough for no reason. He's one of those Iron Man. Like, he just doesn't die, and Luque managed to crack him. So yeah, props to Luque, man. That's an amazing fight. Definitely gonna be on some fight of the year, like I said, list. Maybe might not win. We'll see how the rest of the year plays out, but it'll at least be an honorable mention. So props to Luque finishing the fight with like 6 seconds left. And to round out the main card, Andre Fili versus Miles Jury. All I remember from this fight was a lot of jabs. I feel like Philly jabbed Miles Jury a lot. I also remember the crowd being very angry at this fight. Yeah, like they were unusually mad. Like they.
I think it's just like I said. I think it was just the momentum of like, okay, we what was it? The Sterling Rivera fight, and then the quick Manny Bermudez Benito Lopez fight, and then before that was, you know, what was it? Was it no, it wasn't the Evan Smith fight.
No, that was a KGB.
It was the KGB fight, Evan Smith fight. Yeah, no, like that's a lot to. Like, it's not that they were bad fights per se, but like a lot of them felt samey. You know what I mean? And even going back to like the Lance Holtzman fight, like there were, it was a lot of competent kickboxing matches that were not Luque Barberena.
I don't know. I think those fans were.
I mean, no, don't get me wrong. Like, I went to UFC 169 with like Kenan Barao favored Jose Aldo, Ricardo Lamas, and like 11 decision victories in a row or something like that. It was dull, but we weren't out there booing every time. Like, guys were just not throwing punches.
Yeah, they were hating to just hate.
They were there to boo last night. It was about them.
Yeah, but I remember this being a pretty entertaining fight. It also felt like one of those fights, kind of, I guess in a similar James Vick fashion, where like when Jury finally decided like I want to pull the trigger, he could land and have good moments, but he spent a lot of the fight getting his face jabbed off. I don't know. I mean, he was in there having a good time. He was smiling, blood dripping from his nose. He was kind of busted up. But, nah, I mean, I don't have really a ton to dive in specifically about that fight other than, you know, solid win for Fili. I know he lost the last fight to Michael Johnson, but, you know, since his move to alpha male, it seems like he's getting better. I don't really know how high his ceiling is.
I mean, has he always been an alpha male fighter? Yeah.
Has he? I thought
No, he was there when he signed.
Oh. All right, well, he's getting better then. The time has been... the time he spent there has done him
right.
good. Albeit he's not, like, the most consistent. You look at his last couple fights, like, he won the George fight, lost to Johnson. Before that, he won 2 straight.
He should have lost to Bermudez, if we're being honest. Sorry, Stokes.
So, like, he's in that kind of alternate win-loss, then maybe string together a couple, then lose, then win. But no, like, really solid performance for him. It's kind of... Jury's career has been kind of weird, because I remember when he came to the UFC, and I never really understood, like, the hype that he had coming in. Even though he did start off pretty good up until, I'm going to take credit and just say Cerrone, like, ended his career, but, like, he's won since then, but he hasn't been great.
Right.
Since then. like Cerrone kicked the life out of that man. I think.
Like a lot of it was just being undefeated. Like he beat Michael Johnson early in his career. He beat Ramsey Nijem, Diego Sanchez, Takanori Gomi. Like, and the division wasn't as crowded as it was 5 years ago. The division wasn't crowded 5 years ago as much as it is now. So like he got to 15-0 at lightweight, which is pretty remarkable. And like, he beat a bunch of people knew. Even managed to knock Nijem out. Like, I get where the hype was coming from, but like you said, it hasn't come to fruition. I don't think his move down to featherweight is helping him as much as he thinks it is.
He honestly he's talented, but he just at this point he just kind of seems like another guy. Like, I see him on the card and I'm like, oh, Miles Jury, but it's kind of like, not really moving the needle. But no, good win on Feely though. Lots of jabs, busted up his nose. Good stuff. So good on Andre Feely. Isn't he a rapper?
Yeah.
Thought he was. I couldn't remember.
No, he is.
I'm not looking up his songs. Did I look up one? Didn't you send me one?
I think Stoke sent us one.
Yeah, that was the thing. Athlete rappers.
Stokes or Joey. One of them sent us it.
Yeah. But props to Feely. He got the win. So that rounded out the main card. I mean, all things considered, with the way this whole weekend has went in MMA, I'll take that main card. Like, Luque Barberena was really awesome. Got to see a Gracie in 2019 handle business. Felder did his thing. The MMA gods came back to punish us in the main event, though. But, it is what it is. But on to the ESPN prelim portion of the card. Headline in the prelims, we had Aljamain Sterling versus Jimmy Rivera. I was actually pretty excited for this fight. I actually enjoyed this fight, albeit it wasn't. I felt like it was great, but not great at the same time. Like, nobody got knocked out, nobody got finished, but I really enjoyed what I saw from Sterling. I've been saying for a while that I felt like Sterling has a lot of talent, and I'm kind of waiting for him to see if he can turn the corner and just kind of actually make a title run. And I kind of feel like maybe that's happening. I'm not saying he's going to win a title. I'm not going that far. But I'm saying that if he can stay the way that he's going now, he can at least start to insert himself in the conversation. I think just in this fight with Rivera, it's just the speed, the creativeness of his striking. Rivera was just never really able to get too comfortable. I enjoyed how active Sterling was, because in a lot of other fights where he wasn't so consistent, I would watch some of his performances and it just kind of left more to be desired. I felt like he just could have did more and he didn't. And I just enjoyed in this fight, it really his past few, he seems much more alert. He seems a lot more comfortable in there. He's active. He did a lot of things that I enjoyed watching. He kept Rivera on his toes. Rivera wasn't really able to get too much off.
Yeah, no, you spend the whole fight waiting on counter punches that were just never gonna come. That was, as a Rivera fan, that was just really frustrating. You could tell Shulman was upset in the corner, because he was like, you have to get on the inside and throw, and Rivera just had no idea how to do it. He just kept getting pressured back towards the fence, where you don't need to throw John Lineker volume to overload a counterpuncher. You can just give him a whole bunch of looks, different looks. So you can come into kick, you can bounce out of range before they're able to counter, and you can close distance and make it look like you're going for a shot. He even managed to drop him with a back fist in the first round, I believe, right?
I think so.
So So like Sterling was just on point. Like that was probably the best performance from a like quality of opponent to like sticking to a game plan and not falling into a trap that of his whole career. Like
Yeah.
so props to Sterling. It's just really frustrating as a Rivera fan, where like you're down, but you're still out here banking on something that you spent 10 minutes looking for and just never appeared.
Yeah. He was never really able to like assert himself.
Yeah.
He couldn't take control really like any moments in
Yeah.
the fight.
Like this is what happens when you're a counterpuncher like that. Like you're exclusive counterpuncher.
But like you said, good on Aljo. That's a great performance. He wants the Moraes rematch. I don't think that's gonna happen because Moraes should probably be fighting for a title soon. So I don't know what you do with Aljamain. I feel like after it, Rivera was still a name and a guy who was like flirting at the top, or really, I guess you could say he was there at one point. So Aljamain really from this point can only go up. So I don't know who they give him, but we'll see how further he can go because the tests from this point don't get any easier. So I don't know. I don't know what you do with Aljamain. I don't know who's available. Can't picture the top of this division in my head right now. I feel like there's a lot going on. Still got Cejudo and TJ, and I don't know. There's a lot going on at the top of this division, but
and that's what happens when you make stupid fights.
Yeah. he creates just these log jams that don't need
to
happen. But
look, I mean, there's John Lineker. He's above Sterling for the moment anyway. It'll probably be above him come Monday, or Tuesday. I don't know, like you're like I guess the winner of Pedro Munoz, Cody Garbrandt. That could be a thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. Lineker's book. He's got the Corey Sandhagen fight. So yeah, I guess maybe the Munoz Garbrandt winner. And the thing is, I think that's a good matchup because, I mean, obviously if Cody beats Munoz, Cody has the name. He's fought for the belt twice. So you got that going for you. If Munoz wins, I think that would be kind of his fight establishing himself as like, well, maybe I'm really next up because I beat a guy who challenged for the belt. And, let them two have at it, and we'll go from there. But great win from Sterling. He won 30-27 across the board, unanimous decision. This next fight, which did not last very long, Manny Bermudez versus Benito Lopez. Manny did miss weight, so this fight actually took place at like 140 pounds.
Yeah. Freaking huge.
Yeah, that's a no bueno. But is what it is, I guess. But Manny got work done. I don't even remember how this even got set up, but I just remember his transition being really slick. Another one of those guys that like you just kind of don't want to tangle around with the grappling because if he grabs a hold of you, bad things are probably happening.
Like a real shame that dude couldn't make weight because that was such a slick submission. It probably cost him $50,000. But from what I understand, he had crucifix position. Benito Lopez tried to sit up out of it, ended up in the guillotine, and instead of like wrapping the body, Bermudez just wrapped up his arm. Like, crossed over it, like refused to let him turn, and then just cranked on the choke. Really slick stuff.
Yeah. So, and he's undefeated, right?
Yes, he's now 15-0, 14-0, 15-0, something like that. Let's see.
So, I mean, I don't know. He hasn't missed weight before, right? Is this his first time?
I want to say it's his first time, but he's also fought as high as like lightweight. So.
All right. So hopefully he figures that out, because this is a guy who has a really good amount of talent, and wouldn't want to see him in like a Gastelum situation where it's like you're talented, but your weight is just like an ongoing issue.
He's 14-0, and 3 wins in the UFC by submission.
Yeah, but we'll keep an eye on him. But yeah, that was a really slick submission, good win for Manny Bermudez. So we'll keep an eye on him, see how he goes. Moving down in the flyweight division, Andrea KGB Lee versus Ashley Evans Smith. Kind of like you said, a lot of these fights just kind of just kickboxing matches. But I really liked what Lee was doing. She was mixing it up really well. Just body shots, head shots, leg kicks. She was in there, just lots of footwork, head movement. She was just putting it on Evans. She just did a really good job of just mixing it up for all 3 rounds. Not really much else to say, but like I said, just lots of footwork, head movement, slipping punches, body shots. I really love the body shots. She was like throwing combinations to the body. I enjoyed this a lot. It was really fun to watch. So, and like I said, the flyweight a division that's ever growing. So, good to see performances like this because you want to build up, like formidable fighters, potential contenders. So you want to see performances like this. This put a smile on my face. And her husband's still running around somewhere though.
He's in jail.
Oh.
I think. I don't know.
I thought he was. Oh, I don't know. They never even mentioned it, but I was like, didn't he do something?
Yeah, he assaulted her.
Yeah. So it's kind of weird. Like the whole broadcast goes by, and we never get. Nobody even glosses over it. Just kind of act like it didn't happen. But now, what were your thoughts on the fight?
Like it was kind of just white noise to me. Like it was a solid performance from Andrea Lee, but I don't know. I couldn't get past Ashley Evans Smith looking just downright unhealthy. Like she looked like Stefan Struve after he came back from like the heart injury, his heart valve like surgery. Like just so stiff and like brittle and like kind of fragile. Where like they're so stiff that like you feel like if you poke them they would fall over. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't move past that to like actually pay attention to the fight. I was just like, wow, this woman should go back up to 135. But yeah, no, props to KGB Lee. Like she won the fight. She's been going through it recently. So good on her for pointing it out. Like, but my recollection of like the ins and outs of this fight are just mired by the image of Ashley Evans Smith trying to throw a front kick.
Well, I think it's a fight worth rewatching. If you're a KGB Lee fan, you got your money's worth. She put on a good performance. So props to her. Next fight, moving down, Nick Lentz versus Scott Holtzman.
That way, you were right. He's on the run.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Yeah, I don't think they caught him.
I thought you meant like, oh, he's just chilling out at the house or whatever. No, he's on the run. They don't know where he is.
He's out of here. How they haven't caught him yet, I don't know, but whatever. But yeah, he's that's still a thing. But next fight, moving to the lightweight division, Nick Lentz versus Scott Holtzman. I like to think of this was like the off-brand version of Luque and Barberena. It was like that fight, but not as good. It wasn't a bad fight. To be honest, for a fight of two guys who I don't really pay attention to, I found myself entertained. It was pretty back and forth. Lots of mid-tier kickboxing going on, I guess. But I think Lentz just got the nod because aside from kickboxing, he was able to work in some grappling and some takedowns, and I think that's kind of ultimately what kind of won him the fight. He just had a little little more tools in the shed, so to speak. But I don't really have a ton to dissect about that fight. I don't know if you have anything for Mr. Lentz and Holtzman.
Like nothing concrete. It's just Nick Lentz, just one of those dudes who is out here, just being crafty. Like he understands how to break other fighters' rhythms, especially dudes like Scott Holtzman, who I'm not gonna say Scott Holtzman's gotten better, but he's not quite there yet as like a technical fighter. Like he's getting better at applying his athleticism and his toughness to fight situations. But here, like Lentz was just able to take him out of his element long enough to win 2 rounds, and that's just solid veteranship from the dude. Like,
and the crowd did not appreciate it.
No, they did not.
Yeah, they rewarded Lentz's hard work, and like I said, not to undersell the fight because it was a good fight, but like the crowd was just
it was all right. Like I don't get like, and that's the thing. Like this is why the crowd was bad, because it was coming off of like 2 quick first round finishes or something, or not first round, but like 2 finishes in a combined like 10 minutes of fighting.
Yeah. And it was like Lentz and Holtzman would just throw leather, and as soon as somebody clinched, it was instant booing. Like they wouldn't even let Lentz work. Like as soon as he goes for a clinch, it's just instant booing. Like I don't know what you guys in Phoenix wanted. Y'all are trash. But congrats to Lentz. Impressive performance, getting the decision over Scott Holtzman. And finishing out the card, the 2 early ESPN Plus prelims, which I missed in real time because I was streaming Resident Evil 2. Shameless plug, if you want to watch me play that. I stream on weekends, once a week normally. You can follow me on Twitch at Serial Sensei and watch me be scared while I play that game. But I missed these fights in real time because I was streaming. I didn't realize the card started so early. But Luke Sanders versus Renan Barão. I mentioned a while ago that these are 2 of like the most unluckiest fighters ever, and I was really intrigued to see how this fight was going to play out. And it I can't say I predicted this, but this is just, I don't know if there were many other ways this fight could have ended. Just because of who these 2 gentlemen are and how their careers have gone thus far. Luke Sanders can never seem to catch a break, and Renan Barão has been on one of the most historic downsides I think I've ever seen. Who didn't one of them miss weight?
Renan Barão missed by like 2 or 3 pounds.
Yeah, so throw that in there for what it's worth. But I mean, first round, Barão looked pretty good. He was landing some decent combinations. He landed a lot of body kicks. Like an absurd amount of body kicks he was catching Sanders with. So like in the first round, you look at Barão like, all right, I see you, Barão. Like, you're doing some decent work out here. And
he landed something like 12 to 13 body kicks on Sanders and had him visibly hurt at multiple points. And then the second round started.
Yeah. See, and this is where, listen, man, corner advice is so important. Because I remember during the broadcast, they told, I'm paraphrasing, but they told Luke Sanders, like, bro, you need to push forward. Like, stop letting him back you up. Push forward and just let your hands go. And that's exactly what he did. And it worked to a T. Like,
he
literally
immediately proceeded to start beating Renan Barão's ass.
Right. It was instantaneous. Like, they were like, yo, push forward. He was like, word? Okay. He starts to push forward, and immediately you see the positive effects. He's starting to land. He's doubling up. He's catching Barão like every 3 seconds with something. And then next thing you know, 1-2, Barão goes down, ground and pound. Goodbye, Barão. And I'm happy that Luke Sanders finally caught a break, because like I said, man, if I was a fan of Luke Sanders back in LFA. I still remember watching the night that RFA went against Legacy, and they had their co-promotion card, and Luke Sanders fought Terrion Ware, and Luke Sanders gave him the business. And I thought Luke Sanders would do really well in the UFC. I thought he'd be really solid. And he always would put on performance where he would start off great and then somehow get finished. Glad he just caught a break and won. But as for Barao, I don't even really know what to say.
Stop fighting.
Like,
I mean, his coach said this
it-
was his last fight at 135, so.
Just, I don't know. But didn't he fight? He fought Stevens at featherweight. He lost that one.
I mean, yeah, but like that was actual like competitive fight where he almost won.
That is true. That is true.
There's no way this is true, right? Hold up. Was Kron Gracie really the first Gracie to win a fight in the UFC in like 25 years?
Yeah. That is all facts, sir. That is all facts.
That is absurd.
That is all facts. Oh man, but yeah, Barao, that makes it 4 losses in a row. He lost to Aljo, he lost to Kelleher, he lost to Ewell, and now he got put away by Luke Sanders. So yeah, you got to think for him next, man. Try featherweight again, see if it works out.
Try not to get
If
booked
not-
against the one dude. Well, not the one dude, but try not to get booked against somebody who was literally the worst possible stylistic matchup for you. Coming off of like some severe knockout losses, like please
Yeah,
take your time.
either that or we'll see Barao and bare knuckle fighting next. That's the move apparently.
He's from Brazil. He can go do Muay Thai or something.
That's true. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Barao's fall off has been just kind of really bizarre to watch. And not to go off on a side tangent, because I saw a post floating around about like, oh, well, he fell off because during his run, you know, the division wasn't as stacked as it was now when he's fighting nobodies. And albeit, yes, the division is better now than when he was on his run. But he was still fighting like competent fighters. Like, you can't tell me like Luke Sanders isn't, you know, light years above, I don't know, Eddie Wineland, Brad Pickett. Like,
I'm not going that far.
I don't know. I think they're in a similar. Luke Sanders is better, but I don't think they're like worlds apart, to be honest. Like, I don't think that gap is so crazy that it explains how bad Barao has, you know. I don't know. TJ ruined that man's life. That's all I got for that. I think TJ ruined his life.
Yeah, not even just TJ, but like the beatings mixed with the weight cut. Like this was they don't help each other.
Yeah, and the weight cut's been a thing for a while. Like that's always kind of been an issue for him. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But Luke Sanders finally catches a break, so I'm happy for Cool Hand Luke. Good win, sir. Glad to see you in the win column. And the last fight of the evening, Emily Whitmire versus Alexandra Albu. Remember, Albu came out with hands, and then it eventually like went to the ground really quick. I really enjoyed the finish because Whitmire had top position. Albu like kicked her off, and in that split second moment where like she's trying to get up, Whitmire just grabs her back, like just rushes her and grabs her back, and sinks in a rear naked choke. So good on Whitmire. I like the alertness, I guess. Like that was a really quick moment that she was able to take advantage of.
Albo. I didn't imagine she'd be that bad on the ground. No, just props to Whitmire. She's like 2-0 in the UFC now, or 2-1, I guess. She's out here proving Vinny Megalish wrong.
Oh man.
There's a story behind that, but I'm just not. I'm too lazy to tell it.
She's the one who had
Yes.
beef with him. Right. Oh, okay, yeah, I do. Okay, now I remember her. Okay, yeah, I do remember that. I don't remember what the beef was, but she made it a point.
Vinny was the corner for like one of the girls she fought.
Oh yeah.
After he told her that he wouldn't take the job, and then she finds out like the week of the fight that she's gonna be her corner. So,
good job.
Yeah.
Omar.
Yeah, no, I have nothing to add. That fight was that fight. It was really quick.
Yeah.
I mean, good on Whitmire. Like finishing at strawweight, it does wonders for your stock.
Yeah.
As Joey likes to point out. So she did nothing but help herself.
Yeah. And that division, like I said, man, that division is really exciting. I like from the top to bottom, just a lot of young talent. I think like in a few years when it even fills out even more, like that might be one of the best. Could be like become one of the best divisions. I like what they have going on down there. But yeah. So that was UFC on ESPN 1. Overall, I thought it was actually like a really good card. The main event, like you said, probably not what ESPN wanted.
It's what they should have expected, though. So that's on them.
But like you don't want you don't want the MMA god showing up on the first ESPN card. Like, can y'all wait till like the third or fourth? But maybe they're just they had to introduce themselves too. They had to let ESPN know like we're around and you had to deal with us. Also, in addition to all the other things you'll have to consider.
You signed up for this, pain.
Yeah, this comes with the money. Like, this was that clause in the back of the contract in really small font that you guys didn't read. This was that. But not like really. I enjoyed the card. I like the ESPN platform. I enjoy that these fights are easily accessible. I'm not switching to 80 different stations to watch a card. It's a nice one centralized location. The presentation is clean. The cards seem to flow a bit faster. I think this is going to be good for the UFC. I like this. So far, this has been a pretty pleasant experience. I've enjoyed this ESPN crossover, so I hope they continue because I like how this is going. But yeah, good card, man, for their first card, albeit the main event was what it was. But if you missed it, definitely fights to go back and watch. Go watch Luque Barberena. Watch Paul Vick. I said Paul Vick. Paul Felder and James Vick. Yeah, there were some good happenings on this card worth going back to check out if you missed it. So that was UFC on ESPN 1. Overall, like I said, Bellator was kind of meh. I enjoyed the one card from the bits I saw, and Invicta was cool. Overall, the weekend was just okay, but I did like the UFC card, so I guess that kind of made it all better. Maybe not all better, but it ended on a good note. And next week on the 23rd,
UFC goes to Prague.
Yep.
Yeah, good. I don't know why.
We'll have, but they there. And we'll have the all-violence king, Thiago Santos, headlining against Jan Blachowicz. Also in a co-main event, Petr Yan and John Dodson. We got Stefan Struve on the card. Liz Carmouche is back on the card. Daniel Taymor. Looks like a decent time.
What time is that card? Because I don't think it's going to be on Fight Pass, not Fight Pass, ESPN Plus, right?
I think so. Yeah, I'm not. I probably should have looked up what time because I'd imagine that.
I'm a detective because these things are always hard to freaking find out.
Yeah, it's like they never posted until like the day before.
He's like, oh yeah, not only is our card tomorrow, it's at like 1:00 in the afternoon. So.
Yeah, Good luck.
Have fun figuring out what time that is in your neighborhood.
Right.
Blachowicz Santos, Saturday, February 23rd, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, main card. Ooh.
Okay, so I'm going to miss some of this because I'll be at work. So I don't get off until 3:30.
All right, let's see. Main prelims start at 11 o'clock a.m. Wait, Pacific time? Wait, main card. Okay. Prelims start 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
All right, so part of this card I'll have to sneak and watch at work. Then when I get home, I'll catch the rest, and I'll probably have to.
All of it's on ESPN Plus, so.
All right, cool. But that'll make it easily rewatchable because then you can just go back and watch. And those ESPN Plus streams, boy, they are crisp. Them bad boys are clean.
Why is Marcos Rogerio de Lima the co-main event of anything? Like,
oh no, he's not.
he's the co-main event.
No, it's Jan and Dotson.
No, look at the main card thing right now. They're not even in the poster. It's Blachowicz Santos, Struve, de Lima, and.
Is Jan Dotson?
No, it is. It's just not like the co-main event.
Oh, that's. What is that doing? What is going on?
I mean, they're gonna have us wait around all morning so we could watch Marcos Rogerio de Lima.
Lord. All right, that sucks. But either way, it looks like a decent card. Not a ton of star power, but we'll see how it turns out. I'm mostly looking forward to obviously Thiago Santos and Petr Yan. Everybody else just kind of is what it is. But that's going down next week, so you guys can look out for that. So yeah, always a lot of fights going on. Plenty of punches and kicks to be had. So we'll always be here to keep you guys up to date. But that is pretty much it for today's episode. So as always, we'll end with parting shots and shout outs. I guess I'll just give a shout out to the NBA All-Star Weekend. I didn't get a chance to watch everything, but shout out to Joe Harris, who beat Steph Curry in the 3-point contest. I did watch the 3-point contest. That was enjoy watching that. Just see how much many people can hit in a row. But congrats to Joe Harris from the Brooklyn Nets, who beat Steph Curry. Shout outs to the gentleman from from OKC. Is he from OKC? Dalu. Why is he not on this page? I can't find him. Man, you guys saw the highlight. The guy who jumped over Shaq and did the Vince Carter elbow in the rim. That was pretty dope. In a dunk contest that wasn't great all the way, but he was showing out. To do that over Shaq's back, and I saw people complaining oh, well, he touched Shaq's back when he jumped. Listen, half of y'all can't even jump over your couch, so I don't want to hear it. Listen, he jumped over Shaq's back. So what? Maybe he grazed him a little bit. It was still impressive. So that dunk was crazy. Shout outs to him, and shout outs to Dirk Nowitzki and Dwayne Wade, who have kind of just this year been making their, they're getting their grand finale. They got to be in the All-Star weekend. So it's just dope to see them get sent out the right way. Two all-time great players. Have had a lot of good games. Have had great careers. Good to see them just kind of have this final hoorah. And be able to leave, gracefully. So shout outs to them, man. Like I said, two all-time great players, and I'm glad they're getting sent out the right way, and they're getting a lot of love and appreciation. So that's dope to see. I don't have any shots. Nobody got me too angry this week, so I'm cool on that front. So that's all I got for parting shots and shout outs.
Yeah, we need to talk about boxing. So shout out to Rob Brandt, who won his fight on Friday on ESPN. Michaela Mayer, who also won her fight on the undercard for that fight. I think it was also aired on ESPN. And then shout out to if you guys didn't see it, go check out Leo Santa Cruz versus Rafael Rivera. It was on Fox on Saturday. It was a pretty good fight. It's like every Leo Santa Cruz fight. He throws literally 1,000+ punches. None of them land very hard, but like he's a scrapper, so it's fun times. I don't know. Shots at like the passage of time for not being very malleable to my wishes, because kind of wish I was done with school already.
How much longer you got?
Let's see. I'm on week 4 out of week 15 weeks, so I'm almost 1/3 of the way there.
You got this. Here's a good note. Shout out to France. I'm on ESPN. The French fencing body recognizes lightsaber dueling as a sport.
As it should.
So that's pretty awesome. Shout out to Kaepernick for getting the bag from the NFL.
Yeah, shout out to Kaepernick.
Completely forgot about that story. But yeah, quick note for you guys who don't know, if you follow the NFL, even if you don't, you've heard about this story. The NFL settled with Kaepernick out of court. They're not allowed to say how much they gave him because there's a confidentiality clause in the ruling or whatever. But it's been estimated, rumored that he probably got anywhere between 50 and 80 million, which more than makes up for like the 2 years he's been out of the league. And if you know the NFL, they don't really settle out of court. So I think that's kind of telling that they settled out.
I don't think it's because they had a kid. Let me rephrase. They probably did have, like, there probably was a case. They probably would have fought it. But if we're being real, they did it, so they did get all their text messages blown up all over the place, like Don Sterling did.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, even if they would have, like, somehow won, there would have been probably stuff and information that would have came out that probably would have made them look really bad. And, so you might as well settle and stop that.
A whole bunch of hard R words. Like, if we're being real.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of 80-year-old men.
Yeah. And there's a Black History Month. Yeah. Not what you want happening.
I like it. And I don't follow football, so I don't know how true this is, but there is a rumor that one of the teams that is looking into Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, they sent the Patriots.
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't followed that closely, so I don't know how true that is. But that would be crazy if Kaepernick is the one who takes over after Brady leaves. And especially if Bill Belichick is still the coach, Cap could win a ring there if Belichick stays. We'll see. That's a whole nother discussion. But shout out to Cap. He got the bag. I'm off people.
He never has to work another day in his life.
Yeah.
If he didn't already, so.
Yeah. All for that. Stick it to the man when you can. But that's been it for today's show, man. We covered a lot of cards. We did go over 3 hours, but not a ton. We had like 3:17. I don't think that's bad considering we had to cover like 4 cards. So, Bellator cards, man. Invicta was cool. UFC was cool, but the main event is what it is. Like I said, the MMA gods came through, and if you fought in the main event this weekend, outside of the MVP daily fight, you were in trouble. The MMA gods were angry for whatever reason. They started throwing the hammer around, and if you got hit, you just got hit. But cool night of fights, man. Go back, watch whatever you're interested in. Just watch Bellator at your own risk, minus a few fights. But nah, man. As always, been another episode of the Dojo Talk Podcast. Give us a listen. SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play. Follow the Dojo Talk Podcast Facebook group, and also follow the Dojo Talk Podcast Instagram page. Send questions to dojotalkpodcast@yahoo.com, and follow me on Twitter @SerialSensei if you feel inclined to do so. And also follow me on Twitch @SerialSensei to watch me play video games. But as always, anytime people are being punched and or kicked in the face, we will be there to talk about it. And until next time, we will catch you guys later.